Chapter 8:26. Su Boyu worked very hard to curry favor with the Wang family, and his message was very accurate. 10 days after he sent the message, Zhang Dingming came to Wanchuan Market and asked to see Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan. This guy's appearance was not bad. He wore a white Daoist robe, and his hair and beard were all white. His long eyebrows reached his temples, and his long beard fluttered in the wind. He looked like an immortal. He didn't look much different from a cultivator from a righteous sect. It was hard to imagine that such a kind old man was the leader of the #1 assassin organization in Beiyuan. Different from Su Boyu's visit, this was a discussion between the leaders of two major forces, so it was naturally more formal. Wanchuan Market sent a flying boat to send Zhang Dingming to Yuchuan Peak. Then, Wang Mingshan personally led him to the auditorium, where Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan were already seated. Zhang Dingming bowed as soon as he entered the auditorium. Blood Shadow Grand Elder Zhang Dingming greets Yen Country's retired Emperor and Empress. Now, there are 5th-rank demonic beasts running amok near Blood Shadow. I hope Empress Dowager can save the cultivators of Blood Shadow for the sake of being from Blood Shadow. We will be deeply grateful. This Grand Elder was really slippery. His mouth was full of beautiful words, but he didn't show any practical expression. Wang Daoyuan sighed. Zhang Daoyu came at a bad time. Half a year ago, there were 5th-rank demonic beasts causing trouble in Wanchuan Market. At that time, there were hundreds of demonic beasts gathered in the outer sea of Linhai State. There might be 5th-rank demonic beasts hiding in the dark. There were traces of 5th-rank demonic beasts in Qi, Hu, and Wu. Yen Country was recognized by the 4 top forces and replaced the Valley of Beasts to guard the east of the human race. These 3 countries were attacked by demonic beasts, so I naturally have to take care of them. I'm really tied up with business and can't leave. Although Blood Shadow is also a human force, it has never been under the jurisdiction of the 4 top forces. During the demonic chaos in the southern wasteland, you didn't respond to the conscription order of the 4 top forces. Yen Country guards the east, so we naturally don't need to care about Blood Shadow. Blood Shadow is also a great force that has been around for tens of thousands of years. 2 rank 5 demonic beasts should still be able to deal with them. These words of his blocked Zhang Dingming's words. Back then, when the humankind was in the most dangerous situation, Blood Shadow didn't respond to the summons, because he didn't consider himself a member of the humankind. If a non-human force asked for help, even if they didn't, no one could say anything. Zhang Dingming had wanted to talk about the greater good of the human race, but he couldn't bring himself to say it now. As for the relationship between Zhou Luan and Blood Shadow, when the Su family suppressed her back then, the Zhang family definitely had the ability to stop them. However, they did not make a move and allowed the Su family to run amok. After Zhou Luan broke through to the Jindan stage, she was given a little more power. It was not worth such a big help. Moreover, they were 2 5th-order mid-tier demonic beasts with extraordinary strength. Zhou Luan made a move, but it was useless. He still had to use his relationship with Zhou Luan to get Wang Daoyuan to make a move. Wang Daoyuan was not a direct descendant of Blood Shadow, and he didn't have any relatives at the Blood Shadow headquarters. Zhang Dingming knew that he was in the wrong, but he couldn't find a reason to get Wang Daoyuan to help. After a long silence, he sighed. The Empress Dowager is still the Hall Master of the Blood Shadow Mountain's North First Branch. She grew up in the Blood Wolves and is also a direct descendant of Blood Shadow. According to Blood Shadow's rules, a direct descendant who has reached the half-Yuanying realm is qualified to become the Blood Shadow Great Elder. Now that the Empress Dowager is already a Yuanying realm cultivator, there is nothing wrong with her being the Great Elder. I'm useless. I've been the Great Elder for more than 400 years, and now I'm at my wit's end because of the demonic beasts. I'm willing to step down and let the Empress Dowager be the Great Elder of Blood Shadow. Old Zhang wanted to take a step back, but he hadn't done so yet. In Blood Shadow, the Shadow Master was the Emperor, and he could decide everything. The Great Elder's position was much lower. Although he had the highest authority and could order anyone in Blood Shadow to do something, he didn't have the authority to do it. When he wanted to make a decision, it had to be discussed with the other elders. The decision could only be made if the majority of the elders agreed. Moreover, the elders had the authority to dismiss the great elder, but they didn't have the authority to dismiss the shadow master. Zhou Wan was also a shrewd person. Naturally, she wouldn't be fooled by this little trick. The great elder is a person of virtue and prestige. You've been conscientious for hundreds of years and have managed blood shadow well. I've always stayed in the wilderness north of the mountain and have never held a post in Blood Shadow's headquarters. How could I dare to ask the great elder to step down? Moreover, I'm only a Yuanying realm cultivator. Even if I borrowed the Phoenix flag, the Zhou dynasty's heirloom, I'm not a match for 2 mid-tier 5th-rank demonic beasts. Since Zhou Wan was playing the good cop, Wang Daoyuan naturally played the bad cop. Zhou Wan's cultivation is still shallow. She can't deal with mid-tier 5th-rank demonic beasts. No matter what, I won't let her go to the southern wasteland alone. I suggest that you shrink your manpower and stay in the headquarters. With the protection of the formation, you don't have to be afraid of the demonic beasts. When I find out all the demonic beasts hidden in the Sky Mountain Range and the East Sea, I'll go to the southern wasteland to help you. Hearing this, Zhang Dingming immediately became anxious. The Sky Mountain Range was the main spiritual vein of Beiyuan. No one knew how many secret realms it gave birth to. Not to mention the sea further east. It was boundless. Who knew how many demonic beasts were hidden there? It was impossible to solve all the demonic beasts in such a large area without hundreds of years. Blood Shadow had been blocked by demonic beasts in the headquarters for hundreds of years. The branches in various places had long been out of control. Blood Shadow was different from other forces. It was strong in the intelligence system in various places. Once the branches in various places were out of control, the intelligence system would be useless. Without the intelligence system, Blood Shadow was worse than the Zhou dynasty. It was only a little stronger than the Qin dynasty. In the past, Blood Shadow had offended many other forces. If it was only a little stronger than the Qin dynasty, it couldn't deter other forces at all. It was only a matter of time before it was destroyed. Wang Daoyuan was clearly telling him that the price was too low. The Wang family didn't want this thing. Either give a satisfactory answer, or wait for death. Zhang Dingming sighed at the side, but there was nothing he could do. Blood Shadow needed help from others. In addition to the Great Elder, Blood Shadow also has the position of Shadow Master. The Shadow Master is the master of Blood Shadow, just like an emperor. Only those who have made great contributions to Blood Shadow, have high cultivation, and have the support of the public can take the position. In tens of thousands of years, the number of Shadow Masters that Blood Shadow has produced can be counted on one hand. Now, as the only Yuanying cultivator in Blood Shadow, the Empress Dowager's cultivation is naturally enough. If she can solve the demonic beasts, she will have made great contributions. To elect the Shadow Master, 2/3 of Blood Shadow's cultivators need to agree. My Zhang family's power accounts for about 1/3 of Blood Shadow's power. The Su family's power is about the same as the Zhang family's. As long as we can persuade the Su family, we can elect the Empress Dowager as the Shadow Master. It's just that the Su family has a grudge with the Empress Dowager. My Zhang family's agreement may not be effective. It seemed that Zhang Dingming still didn't know about the Su family. Su Boyu's method of secrecy was quite good. Zhang Dingming was willing to compromise, most likely because he knew that the Su family wouldn't agree. As long as the Grand Elder says so, I can help Blood Shadow deal with the demonic beasts. But after killing the demonic beasts, if the Zhang family goes back on their word, then I'll try to see if my strength is enough to overturn Blood Shadow's legacy magic weapon. Zhang Dingming was a little surprised that Wang Daoyuan agreed so readily. He hadn't agreed for a long time, but now he suddenly agreed. It was completely out of his expectations. Don't worry, Grand Emperor. As long as we can deal with the demonic beasts, my Zhang family will unanimously elect the Empress Dowager as the Shadow Master. We won't go back on our word. With this promise, Wang Daoyuan was relieved. The Su family was more proactive than the Zhang family. Even if Zhang Dingming dared to go back on his word, the Su family would cooperate with him to deal with him. The Wang family didn't care if Blood Shadow was torn apart. It was fine if they could subdue a part of it. In that case, in half a month, Zhou Luan and I will go to Blood Shadow's headquarters to deal with those demonic beasts. With Wang Daoyuan's promise, Zhang Dingming's face lit up with joy. Thank you, Grand Emperor. Thank you, Empress Dowager. This old man will welcome the two of you at Blood Shadow's headquarters. After discussing the important matters, there was nothing left to talk about. Zhang Dingming quickly took his leave. Chapter 827. After sending Zhang Dingming away, the two returned to the underground cave. Wang Daoyuan took out a beast skin book that was not very thick. After the Heavenly/Mountain Range's spirit vein reaches the 5th rank, many golden core cultivators will break through. At that time, it will be difficult for your cultivation to intimidate the Blood Shadow people. If the Su family causes any trouble again, they will join forces with the Zhang family to make you a mere figurehead. You only have the empty title of Shadow Master, and our efforts will be in vain. This is the doppelganger soul nurturing technique cultivated by the 10,000 Corpse Daoist master. I went to the Sea of 7 Stars and found a complete one. It won't affect me too much. You should cultivate as soon as possible and condense 2 split souls. After I subdue the 2 5th rank monsters, you can refine them into doppelgangers. With 2 powerful 5th rank monsters, the Su family will definitely not dare to rebel. You can also borrow the Su family's power to suppress the Zhang family's counterattack. After our Wang family's disciples slowly enter the Blood Shadow and cultivate their power, it will be stable. The weakness of this secret technique and the areas that need attention are all in here. You should cultivate as soon as possible. Zhou Luan took the beast skin book and returned to his room to cultivate. Since he was about to go to the southern wasteland, he did not continue to refine pills. He only took a nascent cultivating pill and operated his cultivation method to improve his cultivation. Half a month passed quickly, and it was time to leave. Wang Daoyuan asked Zhou Luan, "Hallmaster, have you finished cultivating this secret technique?" Zhou Luan replied, "I have already started. The 2 split souls have also been condensed, but they have not been nourished yet." Wang Daoyuan took out a 3-inch tall jade bottle from the spiritual pearls space and handed it to Zhou Luan. This is the nectar of the 7-leaf ghost face flower. It has a great effect on nourishing the split soul and can also improve the cultivation of the divine sense. Zhou Luan was a little surprised. He had naturally heard of the 7-leaf ghost face flower. He was also well aware of the preciousness of this nectar. He did not expect Wang Daoyuan to take out so much. There were at least 40 to 50 drops of nectar in the jade bottle. I heard that the nectar of the 7-leaf ghost face flower can quickly restore the power of the divine sense. You often fight, so you should keep it. You only need 1 or 2 drops to nourish your divided soul. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need, I don't lack these things." After saying that, he took out a few more jade bottles filled with flower dew. Zhou Luan felt relieved and accepted the jade bottle. Wang Daoyuan left the Hui Peng at the Jade Spring Peak to guard against the appearance of rank 5 demonic beasts in the northern part of the mountain and the sky/mountain range. The gray rock had grown up at the end of the West Sea. The environment there was extremely harsh, and those who could survive there were not simple people. In terms of strength, they were much stronger than demonic beasts of the same level. With the gray rock around, even if there were rank 5 demonic beasts courting death, they would not be its match. Subsequently, he and Zhou Luan boarded a high-grade 5th-order flying boat and headed to the southern wasteland. Along the way, he didn't stay idle. He specifically went to a few places where rank 5 demonic beasts appeared. He killed a few rank 4 demonic beasts to intimidate them. Of course, this was also for the smaller countries to see. The Yen country was now a major force guarding the east. The country built by humans was threatened by demonic beasts, so he had to show his existence. 2 days later, the flying boat arrived at the edge of the southern wasteland. This place was similar to the Mingsha Plain in the southern part of the Treasure Cauldron Mountain. There was also a place where body refinement cultivators and itinerant cultivators mainly lived. It was called the Jade Wave Sea. This was not a sea, nor was there a particularly large lake. Instead, there were many mountain ranges. It was just that near the sky/mountain range, there were many rivers that converged into small lakes in the mountains. Half of the mountains and the other half were mixed together. The itinerant cultivators here simply called this place a sea. The Blood Shadow headquarters was located in the south of the Jade Wave Sea. There was a rank 5 formation that could soften the violent spirit chi. Being in the southern wasteland, it would not be affected too much. The flying boat continued to fly south for 50,000 to 60,000 kilometers. In front of them was a valley. In the middle of the valley was a small river that flowed north into the Jade Wave Sea. This was the location of the Blood Shadow headquarters. The Blood Shadow had always been dedicated to hiding, so much so that even this valley did not have a name. The flying boat landed in the middle of the valley. 2 white-haired old men appeared out of thin air. They were Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu. The two bowed. "Greetings, Emperor Emeritus and Empress Dowager." Zhang Dingming continued, "Emperor Emeritus and Empress Dowager, please enter the headquarters for a chat." Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan nodded and followed the two to the cliff on the side of the valley. Arriving in front of the cliff, Zhang Dingming took out a blood jade token. Under the activation of spirit chi, a blood-red light appeared. A door appeared on the cliff, and the four walked in. The location of the Blood Shadow headquarters was a bit similar to the Blood Demon City that Wang Daoyuan had been to back then. Both were built in natural karst caves, and the space was expanded everywhere. After walking in the karst cave for an hour, they arrived in front of a tall stone door. After entering the stone door, the scene inside made their eyes light up. The inside was similar to the Heavenly Demon City. Except for the rock layer above instead of the sky, it was not much different from the outside world. There were also mountains, rivers, grass, trees, birds, and beasts. It was just that the outside was protected by a formation, and the spirit chi inside was very gentle. On the rock above, there was something emitting sunlight. Using his divine sense, he found that it was a pearl about a foot in diameter, and there was a soul inside. The aura emitted by this soul was similar to the red-winged crow, and it should have the bloodline of the golden crow. This pearl was at least a high-grade Tier 4 magic tool, and it was very effective against demons and demonic cultivators, but it was placed here to illuminate. The entire underground headquarters was more than 1,000 miles wide, and there was a peak Tier 4 spirit vein underground. The important institutions of the Blood Shadow were all set up in the center of the underground space. There was a 50-square-mile city there, and there was a large hall in the center of the city. This was where the elders discussed matters, and also the highest authority of the Blood Shadow. Zhang Dingming cupped his hands and said, "Emperor Emeritus and Empress Dowager have traveled hundreds of thousands of miles, and I have already prepared cave residences for the two of you. It won't be too late to take care of the demon beasts after resting for a few days. If the two of you need anything, feel free to ask." Wang Daoyuan did not have any objections. At this time, the elders were the ones who were anxious. The longer they delayed, the more anxious they would be. Zhou Luan shook her head. "There's nothing I need. I've left this place for more than 300 years, so I'll just look around. You can go do your own things. I also grew up here, so I'm very familiar with this place." Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu returned to the discussion hall to deal with the affairs of the Blood Shadow. Zhou Luan brought Wang Daoyuan around the city for a stroll. As they walked, she talked about her childhood, appearing to be very happy. In the end, the two of them arrived in front of a simple courtyard house. There was a plaque above the door with the words, "Zhou Residence," written on it. Zhou Luan's face was no longer happy. Instead, it revealed a trace of sorrow. He took out a black iron token and opened the defensive formation. He pushed open the door and walked into the small courtyard. Everything in the small courtyard was very clean and tidy, as if there were still people living here. The furnishings in the courtyard were also very simple. There was only a stone table and a few stone stools. The appearance of the stone table and stools was exactly the same as the one in the underground cave of Jade's Spring Peak. Zhou Luan looked at the table in a daze. After a long time, she said, "Father likes to drink wine at this stone table the most." Tears flowed out of her eyes. Wang Daoyuan pulled her into his embrace and comforted her softly. After a long time, Zhou Luan finally stopped crying. She pushed open the door to the right of the small courtyard. The furnishings inside were also exactly the same as the boudoir in the underground cave of Jade Spring Peak. In the following days, Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan stayed in this small courtyard. Zhang Dingming came to visit every day, wanting to urge the two of them, but he didn't dare to say it out loud and always avoided the topic. On the other hand, Su Boyu didn't dare to come even once. After all, there was a grudge between them. If Zhou Luan was upset and was unhappy, she might chop him alive. If that happened, he wouldn't even be able to cry. 10 days later, another mine of the Blood Shadow was besieged by demonic beasts. Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu didn't care about anything else and came to the Zhou residence. As soon as they entered, Zhang Dingming bowed and said, "Two rank 5 demonic beasts are leading a group of rank 4 demonic beasts to besiege Kongming Mountain. Please help us, retired Emperor and Empress Dowager." Chapter 828. Wang Daoyuan pretended to be surprised. The demonic beasts appeared so suddenly? A large group of demonic beasts is not to be trifled with. I did not make any preparations. If I go out rashly, I am not confident that I can kill 2 rank 5 demonic beasts. When he said this, Zhou Luan looked at him with disdain. Since when did you need to prepare to kill demonic beasts? However, the two elders had a favor to ask of him. No matter how lousy the excuse was, he had to accept it. Zhang Dingming had lived for a long time and naturally knew what this meant. "Don't worry, Grand Emperor. As long as we can resolve the Kongming Mountain siege, even if we can't kill the rank 5 demonic beasts, we will still propose to the elders to elect the Empress Dowager as the Shadow Master." Wang Daoyuan was waiting for this sentence. "Since that is the case, I am ready. Let's go." After speaking, he walked out of the courtyard with Zhou Luan and left the Blood Shadow headquarters. They took a flying boat and headed southeast. The two elders were dumbfounded. Did they prepare so quickly to kill rank 5 demonic beasts? As a direct descendant of the Blood Shadow, Zhou Luan naturally knew the location of the Kongming Mountain. There was no need for others to lead the way. Wang Daoyuan felt it was strange that the Blood Shadow was so concerned about the Kongming Mountain. "Hall Master, what is the Kongming Mountain? Why is Zhang Dingming so nervous?" Zhou Luan answered, "This is not a secret. The Blood Shadow headquarters has a man-made mystic realm that was left behind tens of thousands of years ago. This kind of mystic realm must have enough spatial spirit items to support it. Just like our Green Willow mystic realm, which is supported by hollow willows. The spatial spirit item used in the Blood Shadow mystic realm is the rank 6 Kongming stone. The price of the Kongming stone was not low. It was the most important spatial attribute material. Some of it was even needed to refine universe rings. The high-grade Kongming stone was also the best material to set up a teleportation array." Zhou Luan continued, "The Blood Shadow mystic realm is close to 5,000 miles in diameter. It is the most important property of the Blood Shadow. However, this mystic realm was left behind from ancient times. At that time, it was protected by a rank 6 spirit vein. The Kongming stone was also rank 6. The spatial laws within it could maintain the normal operation of the mystic realm. However, now that he only had a peak rank 4 spirit vein, the grade of the dark space stone had also decreased. A tier 4 void nether stone was simply insufficient to maintain the operation of such a large mystic realm. If left alone, the Blood Shadow secret realm would slowly shrink, and it might even collapse in the process. In order to maintain the Blood Shadow secret realm, he had to consume a large amount of dark space stones and use the law of space to stabilize the secret realm. The Kongming Mountain was the largest Kongming stone mine in Beiyuan. If it was lost, there wouldn't be enough Kongming stone left to maintain the mystic realm. There's also a large amount of purple cloud wood in the Blood Shadow secret realm, which is a strategic resource. Wang Daoyuan was a little curious. The purple cloud tree can be grown in the mystic realm? Purple qi is the condensation of pure yin and pure yang qi. As long as you can provide pure yin and pure yang qi of the same grade, you can produce some purple qi. You saw the pure yang bead in the headquarters. There was an even stronger one in the mystic realm, which was the sun of the mystic realm. There's also a moonlight pearl as the moon. If this method worked, Then he could use this method to deal with the two mystic realms of his own. The two of them chatted along the way and soon arrived at a place more than 1,000 miles northwest of the Kongming Mountain. Looking from afar, there was a mountain with a radius of less than 100 miles and a height of less than 1,000 feet. It was enveloped by a layer of defensive light. There were hundreds of demonic beasts surrounding the mountain. More than 1,000 miles east of the Kongming Mountain, there were two white clouds floating in the sky. The surrounding clouds were all drifting with the wind, but these two clouds stayed in the same place. It was obvious that these two clouds weren't naturally formed. The Kongming Mountain was extremely important, but its location was too poor. It was only about 1,000 miles away from the Sky/Mountain Range's main mountain range. It was probably harassed by demonic beasts and ferocious beasts in the past. It was just that there were no rank 5 demonic beasts in the past, so they couldn't threaten the Kongming Mountain. Wang Daoyuan directly controlled the flying boat and flew towards the demonic beasts below. The two rank 5 demonic beasts stayed in the distance and didn't come over. They were most likely trying to lure more people to their deaths. If they didn't make a move here, they wouldn't come out. The flying boat flew above the Kongming Mountain. Zhou Luan waved her hand, and a scarlet flame surged out. In order to lure the two demonic beasts out, Wang Daoyuan didn't expose his abilities. He only used the vermilion bird fire control technique to condense a vermilion bird phantom, causing the flames to grow stronger. Soon, it turned into a sea of fire. Zhou Luan also condensed a scarlet Luan phantom and merged into the sea of fire. The vermilion bird and scarlet Luan flew side by side, bringing the sea of fire down on the demonic beasts below. Sensing the power of the laws in the flames, most of the demonic beasts panicked and fled in all directions. A few of the demonic beasts still had some courage and used their innate magic to attack. However, their attacks were too weak. When they fell into the sea of fire, they only splashed a ball of flames and then disappeared. When the sea of fire fell, the rank 4 demonic beasts with courage were instantly turned into charcoal. Wang Daoyuan felt that it was a pity. Every rank 4 demonic beast was equivalent to several golden formation pills. The demonic beasts that fled weren't much better off. Under the cover of the sea of fire, the demonic beasts that were slow to escape were quickly devoured. At this time, the two clouds in the east of the Kongming Mountain moved and quickly drifted towards the west. When they arrived in the sky above the Kongming Mountain, a black and a white figure swooped down from the clouds. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan were already prepared. The vermilion bird and scarlet Luan met them with the sea of fire. The two figures were unwilling to face the sea of fire head-on and changed directions to avoid the sea of fire. They slowed down and revealed their original appearance. One was a silver tiger with blood-red eyes and a pair of golden wings on its back. This was the white tiger bloodline half-divine beast, the blood-eyed golden-winged tiger. The other was a pitch-black wolf. There was nothing special about its appearance. However, no one could say for sure how strong a fellow who had awakened the bloodline of an archaic mutated beast was. The blood-eyed golden-winged tiger roared, "What a powerful spiritual fire! Dao Yu of the human race, don't you think you've gone too far by slaughtering the demonic beasts juniors?" Wang Daoyuan sneered, "The Kongming Mountain is also the territory of the human race. Dao Yu of the human race came to the territory of the human race to talk to me about this? At this point, the human race and the demonic beasts are already irreconcilable. What's the point of talking nonsense?" After saying that, the vermilion bird's projection led the sea of fire to suppress the blood-eyed golden-winged tiger. The two demonic beasts showed serious disdain. The blood-eyed golden-winged tiger flapped its wings and released thousands of rays of golden light. The black wolf also opened its mouth and spat out a full moon. Wang Daoyuan found this full moon familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen it. Under the suppression of the golden light and the full moon, the sea of fire quickly shrank. Not long after, the flames slowly extinguished. The two demonic beasts roared excitedly, but they were soon stunned. The surrounding spiritual energy was all turned into fire spiritual energy in an instant, and this fire spiritual energy turned into a red-gold sea of fire. Two red suns rose from the sea of fire and constantly absorbed the red-gold flames. Then, they flew toward the two demonic beasts. They tried their best to dodge, but their speed was completely incomparable to the Red Suns. The Red Suns didn't directly smash them to death. Instead, they wrapped up and slowly consumed their spiritual energy. This was a spell that Wang Daoyuan created by imitating the red-feathered crow's minor divine ability. It was called Scorching Sunday. When used together with the red yang real fire and the divine ability domain, its power was needless to say. Previously, he wasn't proficient and couldn't use much power. In the Heaven's Mystery Tower, his control of spiritual energy was greatly increased, and the power of this spell was not weak. The red yang real fire in the sea of fire gathered toward the two red suns, and the red suns gradually turned golden. The two demonic beasts also became more and more strained and gradually couldn't hold on. After half a cup of tea's time, the two demonic beasts' spiritual energy was almost exhausted. Wang Daoyuan flew to the two red suns and let out a tiger's roar. The two demonic beasts didn't have enough spiritual energy to protect themselves and fainted. He dispersed the two red suns and surrounded the surroundings with the sea of fire. He smiled at Zhou Luan. "Hull Master, I'll leave the rest to you." Zhou Luan flew into the sea of fire. Under Wang Daoyuan's guidance, she took out two divided souls and merged them into the souls of the two demonic beasts. Chapter 829. With the flame blocking, no one could see what was going on inside. After Zhou Luan's split soul merged, Wang Daoyuan took out two universe rings that could store demonic beasts and put them in. These two demonic beasts were no longer a problem. As long as she waited for 10 days to half a month, after the divided soul completely took control of the doppelganger, Zhou Luan would have two more fifth-order middle-grade fighters. With the two level 5 demonic beasts taken care of, the remaining level 4 demonic beasts and ferocious beasts did not dare to stay any longer. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan did not stay in Kongming Mountain for long and returned to the headquarters of Blood Shadow. There were Blood Shadow cultivators guarding Kongming Mountain. The news of them taking care of the level 5 demonic beasts should have been reported to the headquarters long ago. Sure enough, the flying boat landed in the valley where Blood Shadow's headquarters was located. Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu were already waiting there. "Welcome back, retired Emperor and Empress Dowager." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. Let's get down to business as soon as possible. We've already gathered all the elders and mid-level stewards. We're just waiting for retired Emperor and Empress Dowager to return. Then we'll start discussing the matter of Empress Dowager becoming the Shadow Master." The two elders led the way and soon arrived at the meeting hall of the headquarters. At this moment, there were 50 to 60 golden core cultivators sitting in the hall. Seeing the four of them walk in, all the cultivators stood up and said in unison, "Greetings, retired Emperor and Empress. Greetings, First Elder and Second Elder." Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan walked to the main seats and sat down. The others did not feel anything wrong. Zhang Dingming said, "Now that a level 5 spirit vein is about to appear in Beiyuan Xiuxian, even the demon race that hibernated 10,000 years ago has come out to seize the opportunity. The four top forces, even the Zhou state and the Qin state, already had Yuan Ing cultivators. Together with the new top force Yen Kingdom, Blood Shadow can only be ranked 8th now. Now is a time of turmoil. If we don't seize the opportunity to seize the opportunity, it will be difficult for us to make a comeback in the future. Blood Shadow is different from the other forces. Their hands are stained with the blood of other forces. Once they decline, they might not even be able to protect the foundation left behind by their ancestors. However, we also have one last chance." Zhou Luan, the head of the Shanbei branch, was also the Empress Dowager of the Yen Kingdom. He was the only Yuaning cultivator among Blood Shadow's direct descendants. Previously, an elder had suggested for Hall leader Zhou to be the shadow leader. At that time, Hall leader Zhou had yet to make any contributions, so it was difficult for him to convince the masses. Today, the Blood-Eye Golden Winged Tiger and the Moon Howling Wolf had led a large group of demonic beasts to besiege the Kongming Mountain. Hall Master Zhou and the retired emperor joined hands to take down these two demonic beasts, and even killed dozens of 4th-rank demonic beasts to protect the Kongming Mountain. With such a great contribution, He was qualified to become the Shadow Lord. I suggest that Hall Master Zhou be the Shadow Master. Elders, if you have any opinions, feel free to raise them. Before he finished speaking, a middle-aged man said, I agree that Hall Master Zhou should be the Shadow Lord. Now, there are 7 forces with Yuanian cultivators. Our blood shadow can't afford to delay any longer. If Hall Master Zhou becomes the Shadow Master, we'll have a Yuanian cultivator. With our resources, we can at least suppress the Zhou and Qin states. In the future, if we join forces with the Yan Kingdom, we won't be afraid of the other 4 top forces. An old Golden Core cultivator also said, Martial Nephew Zhang Yu's words are reasonable. So what if we're under the Yan Kingdom? It's much better than being surrounded by the other forces and losing our foundation and inheritance. Then, several more Golden Core cultivators came out to support him. Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu were a little surprised. These elders came from small families and climbed up from the middle class. The people of the Zhang and Su families hadn't said anything yet. In fact, these cultivators who climbed up from the middle class were more supportive of Zhou Luan. After all, Zhou Luan's background was similar to theirs. If they could promote Zhou Luan to the position of Shadow Master, they could also suppress the Zhang and Su families. In the future, their descendants could also get more resources and it would be easier for them to rise to the top. The elders of the Zhang and Su families also looked at each other. They had been told by their elders that they must agree with Zhou Luan to be the Shadow Master. Now that the elders of small families had expressed their opinions, they didn't dare to delay any longer. For a moment, all the Golden Core elders agreed. Zhang Dingming glanced at Su Boyu and cursed inwardly, this old fox, he most likely reached a tacit understanding with Wang Daoyuan in private. After all this fuss, only my Zhang family was kept in the dark. He originally thought that the Su family would desperately oppose and also rope in a few elders who were promoted from the middle class. The number of people who agreed with Zhou Luan to be the Shadow Master was less than 2/3. It would be fine if he fooled them. The Su family's betrayal was directly supported by everyone. But things had already come to this, and Wang Daoyuan had been staring at him. If he dared to make trouble at this time, he probably wouldn't even have the chance to speak before being killed. He had no choice but to announce, since all the elders have agreed, the stewards below don't need to express their opinions anymore. Blood Shadow has unanimously agreed that Hall Master Zhou will be the Shadow Master and lead the Blood Shadow cultivators. Hall Master Zhou, please consider the sincerity of the Blood Shadow cultivators and take on this heavy burden to revive the power of Blood Shadow. Zhou Luan stood up and said, since all the elders support me, I'll take on the burden of Blood Shadow. I don't dare to say that I'll shake Beiyuan like the ancestors of the past, but I'll do my best to protect Blood Shadow's position. Su Boyu hurriedly said, Shadow Master, please go to the Ancestral Master Hall to worship the ancestors. All the elders also shouted together, Shadow Master, please succeed. Zhou Luan didn't refuse. Since all the elders support me, I'll succeed the position of Shadow Master today. After saying that, she led the elders to the Ancestral Master Hall. It wasn't far. The Ancestral Master Hall was right next to the conference hall. A group of people escorted Zhou Luan into the Ancestral Master Hall. Together with Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu, they knelt 3 times and kowtowed 9 times in front of the memorial tablets of the past ancestors. They told the past ancestors that Blood Shadow had chosen another Shadow Master. Afterwards, Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu walked into the backyard of the Ancestral Master Hall. After a while, the two came out again. Zhang Dingming was holding a red robe in his hand, while Su Boyu was holding a wooden tray. On the tray, there was a blood jade seal, a few thick animal skins, and a few tokens. Zhang Dingming put the red robe on Zhou Luan. This is the Daoist robe worn by the first ancestor, blood-robed divinity, when he killed the Devil Clan. It's also the token of the past Shadow Masters. Su Boyu came forward, and Zhang Dingming handed the things in his hands to Zhou Luan one by one. This is the seal of the Shadow Master, the list of all the properties of Blood Shadow, and the tokens to access the secret treasure house and the core inheritance. Zhou Luan took these things one by one, and then raised the blood jade seal with one hand. All the elders, including Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu, knelt on one knee. Shadow Master. Zhou Luan had been in charge of Shanbei for more than 200 years, so she naturally had a good temperament. She waved her hand. Elders, please rise. In the future, all the affairs of Blood Shadow will depend on you. All the elders said in unison, "We are willing to die for Blood Shadow." Then, Su Boyu cupped his hands and said, "Shadow Master, I'm old and don't have many years left. I can no longer assist you. Please allow me to abdicate." Zhou Luan hurriedly persuaded, "Second elder has worked hard for Blood Shadow for hundreds of years. How can you just retire?" Su Boyu pleaded again and again, and Zhou Luan reluctantly agreed. Zhou Luan asked, "In your opinion, who should be the second elder?" Su Boyu cupped his hands and said, "I think Elder Zhang Yu can take on this responsibility. Elder Zhang Yu reached the peak of gold core when he was more than 500 years old, and now he's only 600 or 700 years old. In the future, if he has a level 5 spiritual vein, he will definitely be able to break through Yuanying. He's the most suitable person to be the second elder." This guy really knew how to behave. The decline of the Su family was inevitable, and the position of the second elder could not be kept. He might as well do a favor and bring Zhang Yu up. Zhang Yu was a close friend of Zhou Luan's father. If Zhou Luan wanted to cultivate power, she must promote Zhang Yu. Now that he took the initiative to recommend him, Zhang Yu could also take care of the Su family in the future. Zhou Luan nodded. "Since that's the case, then we'll do as Elder Su says. Zhang Yu will be the second elder. What do you think, first elder?" Zhang Dingming knew that he had been tricked, so he did not dare to act rashly. Zhang Yu is indeed a talent. He's the most suitable person to be the second elder. Chapter 830. With the second elder's recommendation and the Shadow Master and Grand Elder's agreement, the matter was settled. Since Grand Elder has no objections, it's decided. Zhang Yu will be the second elder. Elders, please go about your own business. The rank 5 demonic beast has been subdued, and many businesses have suffered heavy losses. We need to recover as soon as possible. The elders took their leave, leaving only the Grand Elder and Su Boyu. Su Boyu cupped his hands toward Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan. "Shadow Master and retired Emperor, please come to the Su family for a chat. It's time for me to give you an explanation for what happened back then." Zhang Dingming finally understood. The Su family had supported Zhou Luan to become the Shadow Master in exchange for Zhou Luan's mercy. If not for this, with Wang Daoyuan's temper, he would have wiped out the Su family. The three of them left the ancestral hall and headed toward the Su family's spirit mountain. The spirit mountains of these families were all outside of Blood Shadow City. There were only a few large courtyards in the city, so it was convenient for the clansmen to work. As one of the 2 great clans of Blood Shadow City, the Su family had lived for tens of thousands of years. The dozen or so mountains north of Blood Shadow City were all the Su family's territory. When the 3 of them arrived at the Su family's main spirit mountain, all the golden core cultivators of the Su family were already there. When they saw Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan, they bowed. "Greetings, Shadow Master and retired Emperor." Zhou Luan waved her hand. "At ease." Everyone stood up. Su Boyu said, "About 400 years ago, Su Yizong of the Su family lost to the Shadow Master when he was fighting for the right to open his Violet Palace. I felt ashamed, so I suppressed the Shadow Master. Su Yizong wanted to marry the Shadow Master, but after he was rejected, I felt ashamed. Under this brat's urging, the Shadow Master was sent to the barren lands north of Mount Huiyan. He even used his connections to kill the Shadow Master's father. A life for a life. It's time for the Su family to pay the price." He pointed out Su Yizong and the other 2 golden core cultivators. "There were many people who participated in this, but only the 4 of us are still alive. It's up to the Shadow Master to decide what to do with us. All members of the Su family, listen up. The 4 of us are going to die today because our Su family owes the Shadow Master. In the future, the descendants of the Su family will listen to the Shadow Master's orders and cannot disobey him. Qinghe, in the future, you will be in charge of all matters of the Su family. You must restrain your descendants and not go against the Shadow Lord and the Yen Kingdom. Su Qinghe cupped his hands and said, "Yes, father." Zhou Luan glanced at them. "I won't deal with the Su family in the future, lest someone from the Su family acts recklessly and wants to avenge you. I won't do it myself. Kill yourselves." Su Boyu cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for your magnanimity, Shadow Master." After he finished speaking, he looked at Su Yizong and the others. "Otherwise, you three won't be willing to die after this old man dies and anger the Shadow Master again. The three of you should commit suicide first. If you don't dare, this old man will do it myself." This Su Yizong was less than 500 years old, and his cultivation was at the middle gold core stage. He looked like a young man, and his appearance was not bad. But now, he was scared out of his wits. His face was deathly pale, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. When he heard that Su Boyu wanted him to commit suicide, he was so scared that he quickly knelt down. "Grandpa, save me. I don't want to die." Su Boyu sighed. "It's all my fault. I spoiled you too much. Otherwise, you wouldn't have caused such a big trouble. Since it's my fault, I'll take care of it." Before he finished speaking, he hit Su Yizong's head with his palm. Su Yizong's eyes widened, and his face was filled with disbelief. He fell to the ground and died. The other two didn't need Su Boyu to do anything and killed themselves. Su Boyu looked at the Su family members, then raised his hand and hit his own head. The Su family members had tears in their eyes, but they didn't dare to cry out loud. Zhou Luan said, "My grudge with the Su family has been settled. As long as the Su family doesn't betray me, I won't suppress them." Then, she left the Su family's spirit mountain with Wang Daoyuan and returned to the Blood Shadow City. When they arrived at the Blood Shadow City, the two of them went to the Zhou mansion. Zhou Luan opened the door to the main room in the courtyard. There was only a sacrificial table, a few chairs, and a bed inside. There were 2 memorial tablets on the table. They belonged to Zhou Luan's parents. Zhou Luan burned 3 incense sticks for the 2 memorial tablets and kowtowed 3 times. "Father, I've avenged you. I've also become the Shadow Master of the Blood Shadow City. I've also found you a good son-in-law and gave birth to a grandson. He's the Emperor of the Yen Kingdom. When you were alive, you always wanted to acknowledge your ancestors and return to your family. I've fulfilled your wish. Now, I'm Princess Qingyang of the Zhou Kingdom. I'm the leader of Ancestor Qi Luan's branch." Wang Daoyuan also burned 3 incense sticks. "Father-in-law and mother-in-law, don't worry. I'll take care of Zhou Luan. Nothing will happen to her." After paying their respects, Wang Daoyuan stayed with Zhou Luan for more than a month. Zhou Luan was already able to completely control the 2 doppelgangers. With the protection of these 2 doppelgangers, which were comparable to a late-stage Yuanine cultivator, there wouldn't be any problems. Wang Daoyuan left all the nascent cultivating pills for her. He left the Blood Shadow headquarters and returned to the Jade Spring Peak. The family was facing the sky-beheading mountain range, the Eastern Sea, and the Arctic ice plains. It was even more dangerous than the Blood Shadow headquarters. If he wasn't there for a long time, the demonic beasts would definitely cause trouble. Zhou Luan naturally stayed at the headquarters. After all, she had just become the Shadow Master. She didn't have a reliable force under her, so she couldn't leave easily. She had already appointed Wang Daojin as the Shanbei branch's Hall Master. His authority was the same as before. He could appoint the Hall Master of a second-grade branch. The entire Blood Shadow organization in the Yen Kingdom was managed by Wang Daojin. In the future, the Wang family's descendants would enter the headquarters through the Shanbei branch. With the Shadow Master's protection, the Wang family's descendants who entered the Blood Shadow headquarters would naturally be put in an important position. On the way back to the Jade Spring Peak, Wang Daoyuan strolled around several places where 5th-grade demonic beasts roamed. These demonic beasts were quite obedient. Ever since he intimidated them last time, they didn't show up again. He returned to the Jade Spring Peak unimpeded. There were no problems at the family's side. After the demonic beasts were wiped out twice, they didn't dare to show up again. After returning to the Jade Spring Peak, there was a happy occasion. The Jade Spring Peak spirit vein had been upgraded to 4th grade high grade. Moreover, the density of the spirit energy was clearly increasing. The piece of gray water essence that had been fused into the spirit vein wasn't wasted. In addition, the Sky Beheading Mountain Range was relatively close. When the Sky Beheading Mountain Range became a 5th grade spirit vein, the Jade Spring Peak would also gain some benefits. There was still a high chance that the spirit vein would be upgraded to 5th grade. On the Jade Spring Peak, he also met a person he hadn't seen for many years. It was Wang Dezhao. After Wang Daochang left the position of clan leader, Wang Mingshan took over as clan leader, and he took over as Grand Elder. However, he resigned after a few years and stayed in the Green Willow Secret Territory to cultivate. After returning for a few years, he didn't show up. When he saw Wang Daoyuan, he hurriedly bowed and said, "Grandson greets 7th great uncle. Congratulations on breaking through to the Yuanying stage." Wang Daoyuan carefully sized him up. "Not bad, peak stage Zifu realm cultivation. It's not easy to cultivate to such a level after establishing the Zifu realm for only 100 years. How's your progress in the 100 arts of cultivation?" Wang Dezhao smiled awkwardly. "I've spent all my energy on cultivation these past few years. My alchemy and equipment forging are only 3rd grade low grade." His talent wasn't bad, but it couldn't be considered top-notch. To be able to reach the peak stage of the Zifu realm in 100 years was already very good. As for alchemy and equipment forging, it wasn't a big deal to delay them for a while. What the family lacked was a pillar of support, not an alchemist or equipment forging master. It's already very rare to have such achievements in 100 years. "You came this time to ask about the fire attribute laws, right?" After saying that, he took out the meteoric flame controlling gourd and placed a wisp of scarlet yang true fire inside. "You can use this spirit fire to comprehend the laws. If there's anything you don't understand, go ask your 3rd great uncle. I still have to improve my alchemy skills, so I don't have time to guide you." Wang Dezhao took the gourd and thanked him repeatedly. There was a world of difference between a 5th grade spirit fire and a 4th grade spirit fire. The laws of a 4th grade spirit fire were extremely rare, and they were all hidden. It wasn't easy to comprehend the laws. And the laws of a 5th grade spirit fire were extremely obvious. It was basically putting the laws in front of you. Comprehending the laws of a 5th grade spirit fire was much easier. Chapter 8:31. After sending Wang Dezhao away, Wang Daoyuan returned to the underground cave and began to refine pills. In the Heaven's Secret Tower, he learned alchemy from the Thousand Hands Divine Sovereign. There was no need to nurture pills in the illusion realm. It only took an hour to refine a cauldron of pills. Although he didn't stay in the illusion realm for long, he still gained a lot. Now, he could refine 2 cauldrons of 9 Death's Soul Return pills at the same time, and his success rate had reached 40%. After refining the pills, he could put the pills and cauldron into the space of the Spirit Pearl. Yuanying also entered the space of the Spirit Pearl and slowly nurtured the pills. In this way, he would be able to rapidly refine large amounts of medicinal pills in less than a few days for the most time-consuming pill nurturing. 2 years later, his success rate of refining 9 Death's Soul Return pills had reached 60%. With this success rate, he could start refining the mid-grade level 5 nascent cultivating pill. Although the value of this nascent cultivating pill was much higher than the 9 Death's Soul Return pill, it wasn't too outrageous. In the 7 Stars Heavenly Palace, he obtained all the seedlings of the spiritual herbs needed for the nascent cultivating pill. These spiritual herbs would bloom and bear seeds if they weren't old enough. His clone plucked these seeds and began to expand. Previously, in the Qixing Si Xiuxian community, it was difficult to find spiritual herbs for refining pills. The spiritual fields expanded from the space of the Spirit Pearl didn't have any other spiritual herbs. With these nascent cultivating pill seeds, he began to expand. Now, there were more than 30 acres. Previously, he had already harvested more than 10 acres. Refining a few hundred nascent cultivating pills wasn't a big problem. The other 20 acres would also grow in the next few years. Previously, when Zhou Luan was forming her nascent soul, the core of the nascent replenishing fruit was planted in the space of the Spirit Pearl by Wang Daoyuan. Now, it had grown to a height of more than a foot. However, it would take at least a few decades for the saplings to bear fruit. Taking out a set of ingredients for the nascent cultivating pill, he used the flame of life to extract the essence of the spiritual herbs and began to refine the nascent cultivating pill. For the first time, he didn't dare to refine 2 cauldrons of pills at the same time. The first cauldron of pills wasn't bad. 2 pills were formed. Next, it would take half a year to nurture them. After putting the cauldron into the space of the spirit pearl, Yuanying also entered. With time accelerated by more than 70 times, less than 3 days had passed in the outside world, and the medicinal pill had been successfully nurtured. Yuanying came out of the spirit pearl's space and swallowed a newly refined nascent cultivating pill. She circulated her cultivation method to refine it. Using the 1,000 Arms Supreme Divinity's alchemy technique and the flame of life to extract the essence of the herbs, the pill toxins in the pills were indeed much less. Of course, to Wang Daoyuan, the presence of pill toxins was no big deal. Even if there were remnants of pill toxins in his body, he could use the spiritual fire to burn his entire body to remove the pill toxins. After confirming the success of the pill refining, he still wanted to continue his efforts and refine more nascent cultivating pills. However, Hui Peng, who was patrolling the heavenly/mountain range, discovered something unusual. His panoramic perception clone, the Gray Rock, felt that there was an unusual power in the heaven/mountain range. Furthermore, as time passed, the fluctuations became stronger and stronger. This kind of fluctuation was not unfamiliar to him. It was the fluctuation of the power of law that only a rank 5 spirit vein could have. Wang Daoyuan left the underground cave and flew east to the vicinity of the heaven/mountain range's main vein. The spirit energy produced here was indeed a small portion of rank 5 spirit energy. He stopped here for a moment, and the rank 5 spirit energy increased. However, the change was very weak, and cultivators below the Yuanying realm and demons below rank 5 would not be able to notice it. The rank 5 spirit energy produced now was not enough. Relying on this little bit of spirit energy was not enough to break through to the Yuanying realm. However, according to this growth rate, it would slowly grow. In 2 to 3 years at most, the heaven/mountain range's main spirit vein would truly become a low-grade rank 5 spirit vein, and it would not be a problem for cultivators to break through to the Yuanying realm. The heaven/mountain range stretched from the heaven/abyss to the depths of the extreme frost ice plains for more than 1,000,000 miles. Even the Sea of 7 Stars did not have such a huge spirit vein. Once it became a rank 5 spirit vein, it would produce a huge amount of rank 5 spirit energy. Under this influence, the concentration of spirit energy in the entire Beiyuan would rapidly increase. At that time, the battle between the demons and humans would become even more intense. After all, once the spirit energy recovered, the advantage of the human race's fast cultivation speed would be displayed. The longer the battle dragged on, the greater the advantage of the human race would be. Although the demons were reckless, they were not brainless. They would not watch the humans gain the absolute advantage. More than 10,000 years ago, the demons had to sneak around to break through to the next realm. This situation was not what the demons wanted to see. The demons that were hiding in various places would definitely think of ways to gather under the immense pressure of the humans and deal with the humans together. Wang Daoyuan immediately sent a message to Zhou Luan, his master, and the many cultivators of the Archaic Mysteries sect, asking them to make preparations as soon as possible. If the rank 5 demons did not show themselves, he would not be able to find them even if he wanted to attack them one by one. There was not much he could do. He could only return to the Jade Spring Peak and prepare more resources to prepare for the battle with the demons. At the same time, he had the Gray Rock clone monitor the movements of the demons. If there were any problems, he would be able to find out in time. The red-feathered crow in the Spirit Pearl space had been stuck at the peak of rank 4 for a long time. With the density of the Golden Crow's bloodline in its body and the ample spiritual energy in the Spirit Pearl space, it should not be stuck at the bottleneck of rank 4. This fella usually took a nap on the Bloodfire hibiscus tree in the Spirit Pearl space. It was not a good idea to let it continue like this. Wang Daoyuan let it out to follow the Gray Rock to investigate the movements of the demons. The golden crow was also a divine bird known for its speed. With the gray rock's protection, encountering a rank 5 demon beast was not a problem. If it encountered a rank 4 demon beast, it could be used as a practice partner. It might even have the opportunity to break through to rank 5. However, after this fella came out of the spirit pearl space, it was not willing to search for demon beasts. It only flew to the Iron Screen Mountain at the western border of Qingli County and stayed on the mountain top to bask in the sun. Although the Iron Screen Mountain was high, it only had a rank 3 low-grade spiritual vein. There were no demon beasts that could threaten it. Thus, he did not bother about it. If it liked to bask in the sun, he would let it bask in the sun slowly. 2 years passed quickly. After Wang Daoyuan refined a few hundred nascent cultivating pills, he started to refine rank 5 magic tools. Of course, these magic tools were also mainly rank 5 low-grade shields. The war with the demons was coming soon. With more rank 5 magic tools, they could also increase their combat strength. In the future, if his clansmen broke through to rank 5, they could also use these shields to transcend the tribulation. In these 2 years, the Heaven/Mountain range produced more and more rank 5 spiritual energy. It was just that there was still a gap to break through with this spiritual energy. No human or demon beast would take the risk at this time. On the other hand, the scarlet-feathered crow did not bask in the sun for nothing these 2 years. Its small divine ability was getting stronger and stronger. It was already very close to a true divine ability. It seemed that it had stayed in the spirit pearl space for a few years and there were no signs of a breakthrough. It should be that it could not see the sun. Legend had it that the sun was formed by the ancestor of the golden crow lineage. It contained the divine ability of the golden crow clan. Wang Daoyuan could not feel anything special about the sun and thought that it was just a legend. The scarlet-feathered crow could strengthen its small divine ability just by basking in the sun. It seemed that this legend was not groundless. Wang Daoyuan's Yuanying was in the spirit pearl space. She was nurturing a silver rank 5 low-grade shield. Soon, the shield emitted strong spiritual energy fluctuations and the power of laws unique to rank 5 magic tools. Yuanying waved her small hand and took the shield out of the weapon refining cauldron. Yuanying left the spirit pearl space and returned to her physical body. At this time, the scarlet-feathered crow came to his side. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Why didn't you continue to bask in the sun on Iron Screen Mountain?" The scarlet-feathered crow said with divine sense, "Father, I can break through to rank 5 now." Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was overjoyed. After the scarlet-feathered crow broke through, its strength should not be inferior to an ordinary rank 5 mid-grade demon beast. He took out a few 9 death resurrection pills. "Is this pill useful to you?" "This is a spiritual item that the human race needs. The yin qi in it will only deplete my pure yang qi. It also has side effects. I don't need to be afraid of getting injured during the tribulation. As long as it's daytime, I can continuously absorb energy from the sun to replenish my spiritual energy and heal my injuries." Chapter 8:32. Wang Daoyuan couldn't help but sigh. These godly beasts were indeed the favorites of heaven and earth. They could actually obtain spiritual power from the sun. This was only a minor divine ability, yet it had such power. When it broke through to the 5th stage, the minor divine ability would become a divine ability, and its power would increase greatly. In the future, the red-feathered crow wouldn't have to worry about consumption when fighting during the day. He asked the red-feathered crow, "Do you still need to prepare anything? If not, let's go to the sky-beheading mountain range and prepare to break through to the 5th stage. I've already prepared the fire attribute demon core for your breakthrough." "Thank you, Father. I have nothing else to prepare." The red-feathered crow saw Wang Daoyuan the moment it came out of its shell. Ever since it could communicate with its divine sense, it had always called him father. Wang Daoyuan had tried to correct it many times, but it was useless, so he simply ignored it. Anyway, he already had Wang Mingchen as his son. It wasn't a big deal to find him an older brother with the golden crow bloodline. Wang Daoyuan took the red-feathered crow and headed east. When they arrived near the sky-beheading mountain range, they found a relatively flat area on the mountainside. The red-feathered crow stood on this flat area and ate a fire-red demon core. It spread its wings and absorbed the power of the sun. It was 1:15 noon, and the sun had already passed through the sky-beheading mountain range. The sun was getting stronger and stronger, and the fluctuations of spiritual power on the red-feathered crow's body were getting stronger. Spirit beasts were different from humans. They didn't need to form their nascent soul, so they didn't need the 5-element spiritual items. The red-feathered crow refined the demon core while absorbing the power of the sun. After an hour, its spiritual power suddenly increased and reached the level of a low-tier 5th-stage demonic beast. At the same time, the fluctuations of the power of law became stronger. It had already broken through to the 5th stage. Tribulation clouds soon appeared in the sky and quickly expanded. It expanded to a diameter of about 300 miles before stopping. After a quarter of an hour, a fire-red lightning bolt fell from the sky. The red-feathered crow opened its mouth and spat out a huge fireball, which smashed towards the lightning. The lightning and the fireball collapsed at the same time. The red-feathered crow was unharmed and began to absorb the remaining spiritual power. The power of this heavenly tribulation was not inferior to the 5-element heavenly tribulation of human cultivators. The red-feathered crow was able to withstand it without being injured. Its strength was already superior to most human cultivators. Even when he had just formed his nascent soul, his strength was only at this level. The heavenly tribulation for demonic beasts to break through to the 5th rank was also 5, but it was not divided into the 5 elements like for humans. Although the human clan was not like the divine beasts who were born with the potential to cultivate to the earth immortal realm, they were still extraordinary. Even if the 5 elements were incomplete, during the nascent soul formation stage, the cultivator would use spiritual items and heavenly tribulations to complete the 5 elements. Demonic beasts' heavenly tribulations were only of the same attribute as their own spiritual power. There was no chance for them to complete the 5 elements. The red-feathered crow was of the fire attribute, so its 5 heavenly tribulations were also of the fire attribute. The 5 heavenly tribulations had the same spiritual energy, and their power was exactly the same. If the red-winged crow could withstand the first one, the remaining 4 wouldn't be a problem. 2 hours later, all 5 heavenly tribulations descended, but the red-winged crow was unharmed. Because it had absorbed a large amount of heavenly tribulation's power, not only was its spiritual energy not severely depleted, it was even more abundant than before. It refined the power of the heavenly tribulation in its body to strengthen its monster core and physical body. 15 minutes later, the tribulation clouds surged violently. Soon, a fireball with a diameter of 3 meters fell from the sky. The red-winged crow didn't take this fireball seriously. It also imitated the heavenly tribulation and shot out a fireball. However, its magic was still much weaker than the heavenly tribulation. It shot out 2 fireballs in a row to disperse the heavenly tribulation's fireball. Before the next attack arrived, the red-winged crow also absorbed some sunlight. After a few minutes, a golden sun fell from the sky. The red-winged crow didn't dare to be careless. It used its divine ability to transform into a red and gold sun. At this time, Wang Daoyuan's surroundings were obviously cold and dark. The surrounding sunlight was rushing toward the red-winged crow. With the external supplement, the red-winged crow's strength increased. The 2 suns chased and collided under the tribulation clouds. Occasionally, the suns would extend their claws or beaks to attack the opponent. 15 minutes later, the red-winged crow couldn't hold on any longer. The red and gold sun also completely dissipated. The sun formed by the heavenly tribulation didn't give up and smashed into the red-winged crow's body. Then, the heavenly tribulation sun turned into a 3-legged golden crow. It spat out golden flames from its mouth and surrounded the red-winged crow. The red-winged crow didn't give up and continued to devour the golden flames. After an hour of stalemate, the heavenly tribulation golden crow dissipated. Only the golden flames were still burning around it. The red-winged crow's situation couldn't be seen clearly. At this time, the tribulation clouds in the sky began to change from black to purple and gold. The heavenly tribulation's power also began to dissipate. Wang Daoyuan was relieved. At least the red-winged crow was still alive. Wang Daoyuan released his Yinglong avatar. It flew to the red-winged crow's body and began to devour the golden flames of the heavenly tribulation. At the same time, he also released his red sun primordial fire to try to devour the flames. After all, the flames formed by the heavenly tribulation were very close to the real sun primordial fire. Absorbing some of the flames of the heavenly tribulation into the red sun primordial fire was more or less beneficial. For example, the red sun primordial fire seed in the spiritual pearl's space absorbed some of the flames of the heavenly tribulation when the red-winged crow broke through to the fourth stage. The golden color in the flames was more than the seed fire. A huge amount of red sun primordial fire poured out of Wang Daoyuan's body and devoured the flames of the heavenly tribulation. After a quarter of an hour, the golden flames of the heavenly tribulation were completely devoured by the red sun primordial fire and Yinglong avatar. Wang Daoyuan absorbed the red sun primordial fire into his body and merged it with the fire attribute spiritual power seed. The red-winged crow's body was also exposed. At this time, all of its feathers had turned into ashes. His bare body had already been burnt to a crisp, leaving only some life energy fluctuations. A purple and gold ball with a diameter of 5 inches fell from the sky and merged with the charred body. The red-winged crow's vitality rapidly increased, and the burnt color on its body gradually receded, revealing a bald golden bird. At this time, purple and gold petals fell from the tribulation clouds. The red-winged crow absorbed these petals and began to grow black fur on its body. Some feathers drilled out of the fur and gradually covered the fur. In the end, the feathers on the red-winged crow's body recovered. In terms of details, there were still some differences from before. The current red-winged crow was almost exactly the same as the previous heavenly tribulation golden crow. The only difference was that the heavenly tribulation golden crow had 3 claws, and the red-winged crow only had 2. After the feathers recovered, the red-winged crow quickly woke up. He directly shouted, "Father, come and absorb some of the gifts of heaven and earth. I can't absorb too much." When a monster broke through to the 5th stage, even if it did not take the path of transformation, it could still speak human language. The red-winged crow's bloodline was extraordinary. When cultivated to the extreme, it was like the sun. There was no need for it to transform into a human form to cultivate. Wang Daoyuan did not find anything strange. He flew into the range of the gifts of heaven and earth and sat down cross-legged to absorb them. Yinglong's avatar had not been retracted. It had been desperately devouring the gifts of heaven and earth. At this time, a sharp cry came from the astral wind layer above. Which genius of the monster race can break through to the 5th stage at this time? The gifts of heaven and earth when a monster broke through to the 5th stage would definitely attract the attention of other monsters. It would be strange if no monster came to take advantage of it. Wang Daoyuan snorted coldly. Scram! The spiritual power in the astral wind layer paused, and then it angrily rebuked, "Reckless human, how dare you raise a 5th stage monster? If you know what's good for you, quickly remove the master recognition. I can let you live. Otherwise, I'll make you wish you were dead." Wang Daoyuan looked for a long time and did not find the specific location of this guy. He only knew that it was hiding in the astral wind layer, and his divine sense could not explore too far in the astral wind. Where did this evil beast come from? You're like a plagued chicken, not even daring to show your head. Come out if you have the guts, shut up if you don't. Before the voice fell, an angry curse came from the astral wind layer. You're the chicken, your grandfather is the phoenix. Chapter 8:33. This guy cursed, but he didn't come out. He wasn't in a hurry, so Wang Daoyuan was happy to be idle. The gifts of heaven and earth were extremely beneficial for healing the body and Yuanying's internal injuries, as well as increasing one's potential. This was also the reason why demon beasts and human cultivators liked to take advantage of the situation. Especially demon beasts with divine beast bloodline, the gifts of heaven and earth were also quite beneficial for stimulating the bloodline of divine beasts. This guy who claimed to be a phoenix was most likely attracted by the gifts of heaven and earth. He didn't speak anymore, quietly absorbing the gifts of heaven and earth. The few spiritual fires in the space of the spiritual bead were somewhat lacking in potential. The last time Zhou Luan went through the tribulation, absorbing the gifts of heaven and earth had almost healed the internal injuries of the body and yuaning. For the time being, he didn't need to absorb too much, so he sent a large amount of the gifts of heaven and earth into the 5 spiritual fires in the space of the spiritual bead. These spiritual fires were directly related to the growth of the space of the spiritual bead. When they grew, the benefits were also great. Wang Daoyuan didn't speak anymore, but the demon beast in the astral wind layer couldn't sit still. That human brat, why aren't you talking? Is he afraid? Wang Daoyuan still didn't say a word. The demon beast clamored again. If you have the guts, come up and fight with me for 300 rounds. Wang Daoyuan still ignored it. Whether I have the guts or not is up to Zhou Luan. What right does a mixed bird have to talk nonsense here? The bloodline of the red-feathered crow was extraordinary, and the gifts of heaven and earth were also extremely plentiful. Yinglong absorbed a lot of gifts of heaven and earth, appearing more agile. In particular, the 5 embryonic forms of the artifact spirits in his body had also improved a lot, and the law fluctuations were obviously strengthened. In the space of the spiritual bead, although the special energy of the secondary fire was far inferior to that of the mother fire, it was also obviously strengthened. Seeing the tribulation clouds in the sky getting thinner and thinner, the demon beast in the astral wind layer who claimed to be a phoenix became anxious. A white shadow swooped down from the astral wind layer. This guy's cultivation was at the upper grade of the 5th rank. Wang Daoyuan also felt a strong phoenix aura from this white shadow. With Zhou Luan as his Dao companion, he was still very familiar with the aura of the phoenix. As the white figure flashed past him, he waved his hand and shot out several bursts of sword qi. The white shadow was very agile and easily dodged the sword qi attack. At this moment, the speed of the white figure had also slowed down. A demonic bird with a wingspan of more than 10 feet appeared right above them. As he absorbed the gifts of the world, he revealed an intoxicated expression. It was covered in white feathers and had a short tail. There was even a bright red crown on its head. From the looks of it, it was simply a giant white-feathered chicken. Wang Daoyuan wondered if the white-feathered chicken from his previous world had also transmigrated here. Or was its ancestor the white-feathered chicken that had ascended? White-feathered chicken Dao, are you going to scram or do you want me to catch you and make you into soup? Hearing this, the white-feathered chicken was furious. I'm a phoenix, not a white-feathered chicken. After saying that, he stopped absorbing the gifts of the world and dived towards Wang Daoyuan. Before Wang Daoyuan could make a move, the red-feathered crow turned into a golden sun. There was still a lot of red in the sun, but it was much less than before. Before the red-feathered crow reached the 4th stage, his flames were mainly red with a small amount of gold. After reaching the 4th stage, the red and gold colors were the same. Now, his flames were mainly gold with a small amount of red. The change in the flames was also due to the increasing concentration of his golden crow bloodline. The golden flames were also getting closer and closer to the sun primordial fire. Moreover, its appearance was similar to that of a real golden crow, except that it did not have 3 claws. The pure-blooded golden crow's strength was not inferior to that of divine beasts such as dragons and phoenixes. Even when facing the 5 elements divine beasts, it was only slightly inferior. For the red-feathered crow's bloodline to reach such a level, its strength might be far superior to that of a divine beast of the same level. The white-feathered chicken was very fast and was not much slower than the gray roc. The divine beast roc and the golden crow were the representatives of the fastest speed in the world. Only the sword immortal of the human race could barely compare with them. Wang Daoyuan was a little surprised that the white-feathered chicken could be so fast. The red-feathered crow turned into a sun and was naturally very fast. It was not inferior to the white-feathered chicken at all. A golden sun and a white shadow kept colliding in the air. Wang Daoyuan did not intend to make a move. The red-feathered crow had not made a move in a long time. Now that there was an opponent, it was a good opportunity for it to practice. The white-feathered chicken's cultivation was high enough and its speed was fast enough, but its combat strength was obviously not very good. Against the low-grade 5th-grade red-feathered crow, it could only gain the upper hand and could not win quickly. In the process of flying, it could not absorb too much of the gifts of heaven and earth. The red-feathered crow had absorbed most of the gifts of heaven and earth. A little more or less was not a big problem. The rest of the gifts of heaven and earth would be taken advantage of by Wang Daoyuan. He used his theurgy and included the entire range of the gifts of heaven and earth in his theurgy domain. A spirit chi whirlpool appeared in the air and most of the purple gold petals were sucked in by the spirit chi whirlpool. The white-feathered chicken took the risk to come down here to absorb some of the gifts of heaven and earth. Now, it could not absorb any at all and its life might be in danger. It wanted to escape, but the red-feathered crow did not let it go and entangled it. Wang Daoyuan naturally would not let it go. He waved his hand and released the black tortoise purgatory. The white-feathered chicken's speed was extremely fast. It dodged several times before the black tortoise purgatory was formed. He simply took out the sword of origin and slashed at it. The flying sword's speed was extremely fast and was even faster than the white-feathered chicken's. A silver light flashed past the white-feathered chicken's body, and it quickly dodged to the side. Its speed was extremely fast and it successfully dodged the fatal attack. However, under the sharp sword chi, a few feathers were still broken. Because they were not long feathers on the wings, it did not affect its flying speed. Under the joint attack of the red-feathered crow and the sword of origin, the white-feathered chicken was in a difficult situation. It was almost heavily injured by the sword of origin several times. After fighting for more than an hour, there were many wounds on its body. Its white feathers were stained with red blood and its speed was getting slower and slower. The sword of origin chased after it. As long as the sword could hit it, it would lose its life. Just as the sword of origin was about to hit the red-feathered crow, a silver light descended from the sky. This silver light was extremely powerful. It directly repelled the sword of origin, and the silver light also collapsed. A sharp voice came from the astral wind layer. Dao Yu of the human race, it's a bit too much to bully someone with numbers. Wang Daoyuan was shocked. This silver light could actually repel the sword of origin. Although he did not use his full strength, it was enough to kill a 5th-rank upper-grade demon beast. The opponent's silver light should not be a divine ability. It could not be considered as using its full strength. The red-feathered crow is going through a tribulation. You came to snatch the gift of heaven and earth. Isn't that too much? Since you've made your move, you should be prepared that you won't be able to leave. Then, 10 sword shadows appeared out of thin air and attacked the white-feathered chicken again. A cold snort came from the astral wind layer. Dao, you're refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. Then, dozens of silver feathers fell and blocked the sword shadows. Wang Daoyuan was quite familiar with these feathers. They were similar to the feather blades of the golden rock fighting dragon technique. They had the meaning of a divine ability. The guy in the sky should also have the rock bloodline. At this time, the purple-gold auspicious clouds in the sky gradually dissipated. The gift of heaven and earth had ended. He put away Yinglong. The 5 natal dharma artifacts in his body had merged into the Yinglong demon-slaying sword and were ready to attack at any time. The red-feathered crow retreated to Wang Daoyuan's side, afraid that it would be killed in one blow. Without his entanglement, the white-feathered chicken escaped into the astral wind layer. The sharp voice came again. This time, my junior is injured. If it weren't for healing, you wouldn't be able to leave today. Then, a white figure flashed through the astral wind layer and flew east. Without Yinglong demon's slaying sword, Wang Daoyuan was not confident that he could win. This guy was extremely fast, and his strength was unknown. Even if he used Yinglong demon's slaying sword, he was not confident that he could kill it in one blow. Yinglong demon's slaying sword was not suitable for prolonged battles. The possibility of being killed was very high. In the astral wind layer, humans were far less agile than demon beasts. Naturally, he would not chase after it. He just took the red-feathered crow back to Jade Spring Peak. Chapter 8:34. This demonic beast that had yet to show itself should be at the same level as him. To be able to use spells to fight against the origin returning sword, it was at least at the peak of the 5th stage. Coupled with the bloodline of a divine beast, even a peak Yuaniing cultivator might not be able to match him. After returning to the Jade Spring Peak, Wang Daoyuan immediately sent a message to Zhou Luan, his master, and the cultivators guarding the Archaic Mysteries sect. With the appearance of such a powerful demonic beast, there might be more of them. Although they did not have the ability to deal with peak 5th stage demonic beasts, they should be able to protect the sect with the help of the methods left behind by their ancestors. This was to prevent them from being ambushed and killed by the demonic beasts. With such an opponent that he was not confident of defeating, he had to increase his strength. It was still unknown how many such experts he would have to face in the future. If it was just one expert of such strength, it would not be a problem. Although the opponent was strong, it was not to the point where he could crush him. The difference in strength between the two sides was not big, so the opponent could not defeat him. Wang Daoyuan released the Gray Roc and the Red-Feathered Crow to be on guard in the Wang family's territory in case they were ambushed. He himself was working hard to increase his strength in the underground cave. In addition to increasing his cultivation, he would also take time to comprehend the origin returning sword diagram. The origin returning sword diagram that he obtained in the 7 Stars Heavenly Palace's Ziwei Hall was left behind by the origin returning sword Immortal. Comprehending this origin returning sword diagram was extremely beneficial to the growth of his sword intent and the comprehension of new sword intents. His divine abilities were already strong enough to deal with multiple upper-grade 5th stage demonic beasts at the same time. But against a peak 5th stage half-divine beast, he could only guarantee that he would not be defeated. If he wanted to kill his opponent, it was not enough to rely on divine abilities alone. His current strongest technique was still Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. The power of Yinglong's demon-slaying sword depended on the strength of the 5 natal magic artifacts, the growth of the embryonic form of the artifact spirit, the increase of his own strength, and the strength of his sword intent. Natal magic artifacts could not grow quickly and could only be done step by step. The growth of the embryonic form of the artifact spirit was even more difficult. It would take at least a few decades for it to take shape. His own strength was also his cultivation. Naturally, he could not give up on this, but to break through to the next realm, he needed time. Previously, when he broke through to the mid-stage Yuaniing, he was on a rank 5 volcanic island with a rank 5 spirit vein. He used his spiritual fire to burn a large amount of lava into spiritual energy for his own use. He even took dozens of nascent cultivating pills. Even so, it still took 10 years. Right now, he didn't lack nascent cultivating pills, but he didn't have enough spiritual energy. Even if there were 5 spiritual veins in the space of the spiritual pearl, it could not be compared to a rank 5 volcano. In a short period of time, his cultivation could increase slightly, but breaking through to the late stage of Yuaniing was very difficult. The only thing that could improve quickly was his sword intent. Previously, he had used the White Tiger sword intent as his foundation and fused the Killing sword intent, the Imposing sword intent, and the Penetrating sword intent. To improve the sword intent, it could improve the 4 sword intents that had already been fused, and it could also fuse new sword intents. Killing and Penetration were mainly used to attack the opponent's physical body, while Majestic sword intent was used to intimidate the soul. What he needed to deal with were demonic beasts. These fellows' souls were relatively weak. Using the method of intimidating their souls to deal with them was the most suitable. The White Tiger soul subduing roar was barely enough to deal with an upper rank 5 demonic beast, and it was not very useful for a peak rank 5 demonic beast. Therefore, he planned to comprehend another sword intent that could intimidate the soul. When using Yinglong's Demon Slayer sword, the most frightening thing was not the lack of power, but not being able to touch the opponent. Previously, when he killed Snake Xiao in the Archaic Arcanum sect, he had dodged the attacks of the Sword of Origin restoring many times. An upper rank 5 demonic beast could dodge many attacks, let alone a peak rank 5 demonic beast. Similar to the Imposing sword intent were the Emperor sword intent and the Soul subduing sword intent. Comprehending these 2 sword intents was not difficult for Wang Daoyuan. After all, he was one of the leaders of the human race, and he had been an emperor for decades. He had the foundation to comprehend the Emperor's sword intent. The soul-subduing sword intent could directly attack the soul, and it was connected to the white tiger soul-subduing roar, so it was not difficult to comprehend. It didn't take much time to comprehend these two new sword intents. In less than half a month in the space, he had only comprehended two sword intents. Fusing them was not too difficult. A few months in the space was enough. The improvement was the most important. After cultivating in the Jade Spring Peak for 2 years, the spirit vein in the heaven/mountain range had completely reached the level of lower rank 5. Moreover, the rising momentum of the spirit chi had only weakened slightly. There was still a lot of momentum. When it stabilized, the spirit vein in the heaven/mountain range might grow to middle rank 5. Stabilizing did not mean that it would no longer increase, but the increase would be slower. It might take a few hundred years for it to be obvious. It would not be like now, where he could feel the spirit chi density increasing all the time. At the same time, other higher-grade spirit veins were also affected by the heaven/mountain range, and the spirit chi density began to increase. Master also sent news that spirit chi with the power of laws had already appeared at the Treasure Cauldron Mountain. It would not be long before it could support cultivators to break through to the Yuanying realm. The Wang family's territory was also affected. The spirit vein in Fallen Dragon Ridge had now been upgraded to lower rank 3. At the Purple Gold River branch, in the depths of the heaven/mountain range, there were already many level 5 spirit chi. The Jade Spring Peak had just leveled up, but the spirit chi density had increased slightly. On the other hand, the spirit vein in Qingli City had finally been upgraded to lower rank 4 after integrating with the 5 elements essence for several years. Moreover, the speed of improvement did not decrease. Instead, it showed signs of gradually accelerating. Zhou Luan also sent news that level 5 spirit chi had begun to appear at the Blood Shadow headquarters. It would not be long before it could support cultivators to break through to the Yuanying realm. If they were willing to take the risk, they could go to the heaven/mountain range to transcend the tribulation now. In the past 2 years, the demon race's activities had clearly decreased. It was obvious that they were preparing for a big battle. The demon race would not watch the human race's strength explode. A conflict between the two races could erupt at any time. What was lacking now was a fuse. At this moment, Zhong Jinyang from Shanbei sent news that many demon beasts had gathered in the east of their fief. He captured a level 4 demon beast alive. After searching its soul, he found out that a demon beast was about to break through to level 5. This demon beast was Yan Hui from the Black Flame Tiger tribe. He was also Wang Daoyuan's old friend. Yan Hui was worried that the human race would get involved, so he invited a few demon race guardians who were on good terms with him. In the end, when the news spread, many level 4 demon beasts went to learn, and the result was a big commotion. Back then, when they were dealing with refined corpses, they had fought side by side and called each other brothers. However, in front of the greater good of the race, personal friendship was nothing. If the demon race had another level 5 demon beast, the human race would be in more danger, and their losses would be greater. For the survival of the human race and the Wang family, no matter how good their relationship was, they had to kill Yan Hui. Wang Daoyuan left the gray rock and the red-feathered crow behind to watch over the house while he boarded a high-grade rank 5 flying boat and headed northeast. More than 2 hours later, the flying boat arrived at the place Zhong Jinyang mentioned. At this time, there were no tribulation clouds, and Yan Hui had not started to transcend the tribulation. Zhong Jinyang transmitted his voice to him, "Retired Emperor, I'm here." Wang Daoyuan immediately put away the flying boat, hid his figure, and came to Zhong Jinyang's hiding place. After not seeing him for decades, Zhong Jinyang was close to the end of his life, and his body was shrouded in a decaying aura. Zhong Jinyang continued, "The place where Yan Hui is transcending the tribulation is in a valley 2,000 miles north. The demon race is also prepared, and there are level 5 demon beasts there. When I went to investigate before, I was almost discovered. I didn't dare to get too close, and I can't be sure how many demon beasts there are. It's easy now that you know where it is. I'll go and deal with them. You can go back first." Zhong Zhenyang looked like he wanted to say something but hesitated. Wang Daoyuan said directly, "If you have something to say, say it." He nodded. "I have a presumptuous request. Since the retired emperor allows me to say it, then I'll boldly say it. My lifespan has been exhausted, and I've collected some 5-element spiritual objects over the years. There are no seedlings in the clan who can break through to the Yuanying realm, so these spiritual objects are useless. I want to try to break my core and form my nascent soul. I dare to ask the retired emperor to protect me after dealing with the demon beasts." Chapter 8:35. Wang Daoyuan carefully weighed the pros and cons. If Zhong Zhenyang broke through to the Yuanying realm, it would be a good thing and a bad thing for the Yan kingdom. He also had a minor divine power, which would turn into a divine power after he formed his nascent soul. His minor divine power was to create countless ghost heads to attack the opponent's soul, which was very powerful against demons. When the human race and the demon race fought in the future, he would have one more helper. But if he formed his nascent soul, no one in the Wang family could stop him except for himself and Zhou Luan. Once he left in the future, there would be a situation where the minister was strong and the master was weak. The cultivators of the Netherworld sect were not easy to deal with. Once there was a situation where the minister was strong and the master was weak, they would inevitably have disloyalty. After weighing the pros and cons for a long time, Wang Daoyuan replied, "I can protect you, but don't forget who is the ruler and who is the minister." Zhong Zhenyang quickly bowed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I'm willing to guard the northern border for the Yan kingdom for the rest of my life. If I have disloyalty, I'll be destroyed by heaven and earth." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "Don't be happy too early. You have to prepare the Dharma artifact to withstand the heavenly tribulation. Besides, you have a minor divine power. After the 5 elements heavenly tribulation, there will be a divine power tribulation. Everyone who went through this heavenly tribulation had a slim chance of survival. Even I was seriously injured during the tribulation and fainted." Zhong Zhenyang was full of confidence. "Don't worry, Your Majesty. I've been preparing for more than 300 years to break through to the Yuanying realm. Back then, during the spirit chi tide in the Hidden Dragon River, the spirit chi concentration was rising. I guessed that there might be level 5 spirit chi in Beiyuan Xiaoxian in the future. At that time, I thought that there might be a chance to go further, so I sent the Zhong family disciples to explore the ancient ruins in the sky/mountain range and collected a lot of spiritual items. I used the remains of a level 5 demon beast and my cultivation technique to refine a bone armor. After many years of nourishment, it shouldn't be a problem to withstand the 5 heavenly tribulations. If I can't use it, I can leave it for my descendants." This old man was really far-sighted. He had started planning a few hundred years ago. If you had such a thing, why didn't you take it out when the Zhao family reclaimed their country? A Dharma artifact that could withstand the Yuanying tribulation is much stronger than the seal of the Zhao state. Zhong Zhenyang mocked himself. "So what if I win?" At that time, retired emperor had the backing of the divine weapon pavilion, so I didn't dare to do anything to you. In the south, the Song kingdom was still eyeing them covetously. The 3 major sects were not capable of great things, and the underworld sect was still controlled by the Luo family. If I take out this bone armor, even if I win, I will be jointly suppressed. My Zhong clan's descendants do not have any outstanding talents. After my death, this bone armor will be the Zhong clan's death talisman. If that's the case, why don't we sell the underworld sect and give the Zhong clan a way out? This old man was truly a wily old fox. He had truly hidden himself well. However, he had made the right bet. Back then, if he had helped the Netherworld sect with all his strength, with Luo Jiuyo's character, even if he had won, he would have tried every means to kill Zhong Zhenyang. At this moment, a black cloud appeared more than 2,000 miles to the north. The black cloud was still expanding and soon, it had reached a diameter of 100 miles. Zhong Zhenyang asked, "Retired Emperor, why don't we go over and end it now?" Wang Daoyuan sneered, "Don't play tricks with me. Let's wait for it to pass the tribulation, then we can loot it and grab some gifts from the heavens and earth. In your current state, even with the bone armor, it will be difficult for you to pass the divine tribulation. If you can get some gifts from the heavens and earth, your chances of passing the tribulation will be higher. If you pass the tribulation successfully, our human clan will have one more master. Zhong Zhenyang was a little embarrassed when his thoughts were seen through. He did not speak anymore. The two quietly waited for the result of the tribulation. More than 2 hours later, the 5 heavenly tribulations passed, and the tribulation cloud in the sky began to change to purple gold. Wang Daoyuan took out the flying boat and flew to the tribulation place with Zhong Zhenyang. Just before the tribulation cloud completely turned purple gold, they arrived at the small valley. In the valley, there were dozens of 4th-rank demonic beasts and a white-feathered chicken. It was the one that the red-feathered crow encountered during the tribulation. This guy's injury had healed, but now he dared to court death again. Wang Daoyuan drove the flying boat and did not hide. Naturally, he could not hide it from the demonic beasts. As soon as the white-feathered chicken saw the 5th-rank high-grade flying boat, it immediately flapped its wings and flew toward the astral wind layer above. Wang Daoyuan was still too far away to make a move. He could only watch it escape. The white-feathered chicken was gone, but the remaining demonic beasts could not be let go. These 4th-rank demonic beasts were all 4th-rank peak and high-grade. Most of them had the potential to break through to the 5th rank. Wang Daoyuan put away the flying boat, used the sky-splitting sword escape, and flew over the valley. The divine tribulation was launched, and all the spiritual energy in the domain was transformed into metal attribute. Subsequently, 36 sword shadows appeared out of thin air at the edge of the domain, surrounding all the 4th-rank demonic beasts. The sword shadows shuttled through the demonic beasts, and each sword shadow could take away a 4th-rank demonic beast. The white-feathered chicken, a 5th-rank high-grade demonic beast, had fled. These 4th-rank demonic beasts panicked and only knew to flee. A few demonic beasts who dared to resist could not even break a sword shadow. In just a few dozen breaths of time, this group of 4th-rank demonic beasts were all killed. Wang Daoyuan put away these corpses in passing and landed on the valley's ground. Zhong Zhenyang was dumbstruck as he watched from the side. The moment the 5th-rank demonic beasts saw him, they fled in panic. Several dozen 4th-rank demonic beasts were slaughtered to the last. He also had confidence in defeating these 4th-rank demonic beasts. But taking one down would also require half a day. At this time, a purple gold ball with a diameter of more than 2 inches fell from the magic cloud. The ball's target was precisely the protagonist transcending the tribulation, Yan Hui. At this time, he was already struck by lightning into a pile of charcoal. This purple gold ball's target was Yan Hui. It was very difficult for others to intercept it. If he killed Yan Hui now, this purple gold ball would also disappear. Wang Daoyuan might be able to stop it, such as directly receiving it with a spiritual bead. However, there was no need to expose his greatest trump card for such a small matter. He released Yinglong from between Yuanying's eyebrows to intercept the gift of heaven and earth. This guy was a 5 elements divine beast avatar. It was formed by the fusion of the power of the heavenly tribulation and the gift of heaven and earth. It should be of some use. After Yinglong flew out, it opened its mouth and swallowed the purple gold ball into its stomach. It was unable to absorb such a huge amount of the gift of heaven and earth, and its body constantly emitted purple gold energy. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly recalled it and sent it into the spiritual bead space. Yan Hui did not obtain any benefits, and it was impossible for him to recover. Seeing that Zhong Zhenyang was still in a daze, Wang Daoyuan shouted, "Why aren't you coming over to absorb the gift of heaven and earth? This is your only hope of successfully transcending the tribulation." He woke up from his daze and immediately flew under the magic cloud. At this time, purple gold petals began to fall from the sky. Wang Daoyuan looked at Yan Hui, who was about to die, and said, "Big brother Yan Hui, we once fought side by side. Unfortunately, the two clans are about to fight to the death. If you don't break through, there's no harm in sparing your life. Unfortunately, you just had to break through at this time. I know your character, and you will never submit to the human race. For the human race, forgive me for not being particular. Yan Kingdom's retired Emperor Wang Daoyuan, send big brother Yan Hui on his way. After saying that, he waved his hand and shot out a red and gold flame, burning the pile of charcoal to ashes. The following gifts of heaven and earth were used by the heavenly Tao to compensate for the damaged spirit veins and plants here. Even if the person transcending the tribulation died, the gifts of heaven and earth would not stop. Zhong Zhenyang hurriedly circulated his cultivation technique to absorb the gifts of heaven and earth. More than 70% of the gifts of heaven and earth were in the purple gold ball from before. At this time, purple gold energy was constantly overflowing from Yinglong's body in the spiritual bead space. Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to control the energy and merge it into the 5 elements spiritual fire. He also drew out some energy and merged it into his yuaning, increasing the potential of his yuaning. 15 minutes later, the magic cloud dissipated. Zhong Zhenyang had absorbed a lot of the gifts of heaven and earth, and his body was full of vitality. He was no longer as lifeless as before. Wang Daoyuan took out the broken core grass. Take advantage of the fact that the gifts of heaven and earth have not completely dissipated, quickly transcend the tribulation. This is a broken core grass. It can help you break through the golden core. Chapter 8:36. Zhong Zhenyang took the broken elixir grass and asked, "Is this the broken elixir grass that can break the elixir but has no other toxicity?" Although it is a 4th-level spiritual medicine, it has a high requirement for spiritual energy. It is very difficult for it to grow on a 4th-level upper-grade spiritual vein. Moreover, ordinary cultivators don't need it. Therefore, no one is willing to cultivate this thing. Now, only the 4 top forces and first-class forces like Zhou Qin may still have seeds. If the retired emperor has a lot of these things, he can use them to refine poisons. You are also an alchemist, so you should know that the elixir of the demon clan is similar to that of the human clan. This broken elixir grass can break the elixir of both humans and demons. The elixir of a 5th-level monster has purer spiritual energy, but it is still an elixir after all, so it can't ignore the medicinal properties of the broken elixir grass. Even if it can't directly break the elixir, it can have a great impact on it. The broken elixir grass was not very useful, and not many people needed it. Wang Daoyuan didn't plant many of them, so he only planted a dozen at the edge of the spiritual bead space. He didn't want to use it to poison people. He just wanted to keep it for his family to break the elixir and form the nascent soul. Do you have the prescription for making poison with the broken elixir grass? Zhong Zhenyang took out a jade slip. This thing was obtained by the juniors of our clan when they went out to travel. It should be the inheritance scattered in the Valley of Beasts. They have been dealing with monsters all year round, so they are more experienced in this aspect. This prescription strengthens the effect on monsters, but it is not very effective on human elixir realm cultivators. Wang Daoyuan took the prescription and gave him a pill bottle. This is the 9-death resurrection pill used by Yuanian cultivators for healing. Take one when you are injured during the tribulation. It will be more or less useful. After that, he left the valley to give Zhong Zhenyang some space. Zhong Zhenyang took out 4 monster cores, which were of the 4 attributes of metal, wood, fire, and earth. He was of the water attribute, and with these 4 monster cores, he could gather the 5 attributes. He crushed the 4 monster cores and swallowed them directly. After refining them, he didn't spit out the elixir. Instead, he began to run his cultivation method, and a vortex of spiritual energy with a diameter of hundreds of feet appeared above his head. The golden core was the main source of spiritual energy for breaking the golden core to form the nascent soul, but some additional spiritual energy was still needed. He didn't have the assistance of a grade 5 Fey, so he could only rely on absorbing spirit chi from the outside world. The process of absorbing spiritual energy might take a few days. This was also the reason why most cultivators wanted to find spiritual objects to assist them in breaking through to the nascent soul stage. Just sitting there for a few days would cause quite a commotion. It was very likely that it would attract enemies. After consuming the 5 elements spiritual items and refining them into the golden core, the spiritual energy in the golden core would become very heterogeneous. Not only would his strength not improve, but it would also decrease significantly. Without the protection of an expert, there was an 80% chance that he would die an unnatural death. With Wang Daoyuan here, there were no traces of demonic beasts within a radius of several thousand miles. Yinglong was still spewing out purple gold energy from within the space of the spirit pearl. After a portion of the spirit plants absorbed the energy, their grades finally improved. The hidden cloud tea, which had been stuck at the peak of the 4th stage for many years, finally broke through to the 5th stage. The other spirit plants were still lacking. 3 days later, Zhong Jinyang stopped absorbing spiritual energy. He took out the broken core grass and swallowed it whole. A moment later, he opened his mouth and spat out the golden core. With the broken core grass's medicinal properties, the golden core shattered in just a few breaths. After the golden core shattered, the purple mansion appeared. This fellow's violet palace anomaly was a sinister ghost head with a thick black mist surrounding it. Without the assistance of spiritual herbs like the nascent soul fruit, forming the nascent soul was relatively slow. It took him an hour to form a nascent soul, which was 2 inches and 7 centimeters tall, from the gold core and the purple palace. This guy's talent was not bad. Lei Yan's yuanying was only 3 inches tall. Moreover, Zhong Jinyang's cultivation technique and the fei he obtained were incomparable to Lei Yan's. In terms of talent, he shouldn't be weaker than Lei Yan. After the yuanying was formed, a dark cloud appeared in the sky. Zhong Jinyang took out a set of armor. This armor was mainly refined from beast bones and had some dragon scales. All the materials were left behind by 5th stage demonic beasts. However, without the nourishment of spiritual energy for a long time, it fell to the peak of 4th stage. This armor also had some power of laws unique to 5th stage magic artifacts. Zhong Jinyang should have secretly nurtured it after the fei appeared in the sky/mountain range. After the armor appeared, it quickly shrank and put on the yuanying's body. 15 minutes later, the tribulation cloud expanded to more than 100 kilometers in diameter. A green ball fell from the sky. The yuanying activated the bone armor with all his strength and then used a divine ability to withstand the tribulation. The tribulation fell and the divine ability collapsed. The bone armor didn't suffer much damage, but it was slightly dimmed. It had to be said that the bone armor was not weak. It was even stronger than ordinary 5th stage magic artifacts. 2 hours later, all 5 tribulation clouds were over. The bone armor was completely destroyed and turned into a pile of bone fragments scattered on the ground. The yuanying was also heavily injured. However, he had absorbed a lot of gifts from heaven and earth, which were very useful now. In addition, he had eaten a few 9 death soul return pills, so his injuries quickly recovered. 15 minutes later, the injuries on Zhong Jinyang's body had recovered by 80 to 90%. At this moment, a black aura fell from the sky. It contained extremely strong yin qi and death qi. The black aura enveloped Zhong Jinyang's entire body. This black aura had the effect of blocking divine sense. Wang Daoyuan also couldn't know what was going on inside. He could only see ghost heads emerging from the black aura from time to time. After an hour, the black aura calmed down. The tribulation cloud in the sky also began to change to a purple-gold color. Wang Daoyuan released Yinglong and let it devour the remaining black aura. Although the black aura was eerie, it was formed by the power of the tribulation. Yinglong had almost digested the gifts of heaven and earth that it had devoured previously. The 5 embryonic forms of the artifact spirits had improved greatly. At least 20 years of nurturing had been saved. Yinglong quickly devoured the black aura. In just 15 minutes, there was not much of the black aura left. The yuanying heavenly tribulation of human cultivators didn't hurt the body, but Zhong Jinyang's yuanying was intact and still had a lot of vitality. It was just that there was almost no fluctuation of divine sense power, as if only a shell was left. His magical power mainly hurt the soul. At this time, his soul should not be left. After passing the heavenly tribulation with the gifts of heaven and earth, he could recover from any injuries. At this moment, there was a violent sound of wind breaking from the sky and the sound of wings flapping. These monsters had endured for a few days, and now they finally couldn't bear it anymore. Soon, a strange silver bird descended from the sky. The reason why it was called a strange bird was that its head and neck were very similar to a phoenix. And below the neck, it was exactly the same as a rock. It should have the bloodline of both the phoenix and the rock at the same time. The rock was originally a variant of the phoenix clan. With the phoenix bloodline, it was not a mixed bird. This guy's wingspan was more than 1,000 feet, and its body had the metal attribute spiritual power fluctuation of the peak of the 5th rank. After a sharp cry, it swooped down toward Zhong Xinyang below. Wang Daoyuan naturally couldn't let it succeed. He activated his magical power domain and instantly converted the surrounding spiritual power into the fire attribute and gathered it together. Red and gold flames were released, refining the spiritual power in an instant. The flames turned into a red sun, blocking above Zhong Xinyang. Although the strange bird was strong, it didn't want to crash in. It changed its direction and attacked Wang Daoyuan, condensing a large number of silver feathers with spiritual power. Wang Daoyuan didn't dodge. He took out the origin returning sword, and countless sword chi condensed into a giant sword shadow, slashing at the strange bird. The strange bird hurriedly dodged, and the giant sword shadow was shattered by a large number of feathers. However, all the feathers were also destroyed. This time, the two sides were tied. The strange bird sneered. "Daoyu, we meet again. My demon clan broke through to the 5th rank, and you snatched the gift of heaven and earth and killed it. Now, I'll do what you did again. You shouldn't have any objections, right?" Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "No problem, as long as you can beat me." Chapter 837. Gods would have a great increase in their control of laws. If the strange bird was a rank 6 monster that had yet to recover, it could easily injure him with its advantage of controlling laws and spiritual power at the peak of rank 5. However, the appearance of this strange bird also meant that those rank 5 peak monsters that had been sleeping for many years had almost recovered. If there were more old monsters, they would appear one after another. The strange bird stared at Wang Daoyuan for a while. "There's no aura of decay on you. You're about the same as an ordinary youth. You should be less than 500 years old. At such a young age, you've cultivated to the middle stage of yuaning. The growth speed of the human race is beyond the reach of divine beasts. With a cultivation level 2 lower, you can still fight me head-on without being at a disadvantage. You're also a peerless genius. If I don't get rid of you as soon as possible, I'm afraid you'll become a great threat to the demon race in the future." Wang Daoyuan also stared at the strange bird for a while. "You demons are too good at living. Someone like you, who is neither a phoenix nor a rock, most likely has the bloodline of the phoenix. Anyone with the bloodline of the phoenix has an especially long lifespan. If you continue to live, I'm afraid you'll be a threat to the human race for thousands of years." At the mention of the phoenix bloodline, the strange bird immediately perked up. "You have good eyesight, human boy. I'm the son of a rock and a golden phoenix. Without my grandson holding you back today, I'm afraid it's impossible for you to leave." Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was a little puzzled. "Your bloodline is not bad, but why does your grandson look like a white-feathered chicken?" The phoenix bloodline hated it when others mentioned chickens. After hearing Wang Daoyuan's words, it stopped talking to him and spat out several silver lights. Wang Daoyuan was also prepared. The blazing sun that he had condensed with his divine ability was still there. It flew over and blocked in front of Wang Daoyuan. Yinglong devoured a portion of the tribulation flames from the red-feathered crow's tribulation. Wang Daoyuan merged these flames into the fire attribute spiritual power seed. Now, the golden part of his red yang true fire had increased greatly. Although there were still more red parts than gold, it could barely be considered red and gold. Its grade did not increase, but the power of its flames had improved significantly. He also used his divine ability to transfer a large amount of fire spiritual energy into the blazing sun. Now, the spiritual energy contained in the blazing sun had far exceeded the spiritual energy that Wang Daoyuan could unleash with his full strength. In addition, the 5 elements restrained each other, and fire restrained metal. The silver light shot out by the strange bird entered the sun and quickly dissipated. The strange bird was a little surprised. Although it felt that the sun was strong, it was not strong enough to withstand its attack. It had only been a short while, but he was already able to receive his attack so easily. Domain divine ability is indeed extraordinary. Brat, you are truly cunning. While conversing with me, you even took the opportunity to increase the power of your spell. This time, he had learned his lesson. As he spoke, he continuously shot out feathers to attack the unconscious Zhong Zhenyang. Wang Daoyuan had no choice but to control the sun to block his attack. Seeing that the sun had been diverted away, the strange bird once again released silver light to attack him. His hands did not stop moving either. The blazing sun split into two, one to protect Zhong Zhenyang while the other protected himself. The two of them fought for dozens of breaths. The strange bird had consumed a lot of spiritual energy and could only stop the blazing sun from becoming stronger. Seeing that it could not win with ordinary methods, the strange bird thought to itself, the spiritual energy in Beiyuan is not enough to support me to break through to level 6. There is no room for improvement. And this human brat's cultivation will continue to increase. If I let him go, I will not be his opponent in a few years. No matter what, he had to kill him this time. After making up its mind, the spiritual energy in its body boiled. Its body also slowly shrank. In the end, its wingspan was only about 10 feet. At this moment, its body was emitting a dazzling silver light. This light had already covered the blazing sun, making it look like a silver sun. Wang Daoyuan was also ready. Yinglong's demon-slaying sword had already taken shape and a large amount of spiritual energy was poured into it. Yinglong, who was in between Yuanying's eyebrows, also merged with the 5-weapon spirit embryos. The silver sun attacked him. He controlled a blazing sun to block it. The sword of origin in his hand also carried a large amount of sword chi to attack. These two were unable to withstand a single blow from the silver sun and were quickly defeated. At this moment, Wang Daoyuan's body was covered in dragon scales. The blood in his body was boiling. He had also put away his divine power and focused all his energy on the strange bird. When the two were a few hundred feet apart, Yinglong's demon-slaying sword suddenly appeared in his hand. The sword of origin's sword intent burst out. The strong killing intent and the majesty that made all living beings submit made the strange bird timid. There was no turning back. At this moment he had no way out. If he did not win, he would die. Wang Daoyuan held the sword with both hands and suddenly swung it forward. The silver sun just happened to be in front of him. An ear-piercing sound of metal clashing resounded through the sky. Even the purple-gold auspicious clouds in the sky were violently surging. The violent spiritual energy shattered the surrounding rocks. At the place where the two collided, a huge pit with a diameter of more than 10 miles and a depth of more than 100 feet appeared. From afar, one could only see 2 balls of silver light colliding. Then they turned into 3 balls of silver light. One of the balls of silver light was split in half. The other ball of light flew backward for more than 10 miles, leaving a 3-foot wide and 3-foot deep ditch on the ground. It did not stop until it hit a small hill. There was a 3rd-grade low-grade spiritual spring on this hill, and the water was not small. The collision of the silver light caused a few rocks on the hill to shatter. The spring water changed its course and flowed towards the ditch opened by the silver light, finally converging into the big pit. In time, this big pit could become a small lake. This ball of silver light that opened up the ditch was Wang Daoyuan. He leaned against the hill and spat out a mouthful of blood. His internal organs were all impacted. If not for the fact that he had changed his cultivation technique and converted a large amount of spiritual energy into chi and blood to continuously strengthen his body, he would probably be at death's door. After panting for a while, he did not bother to heal his injuries and quickly put away the 2 halves of the strange bird's body. This strange bird's divine bird bloodline was not low. Every drop of blood was extremely valuable. The clone in the space also hurriedly began to deal with the corpse and store the essence blood. Wang Daoyuan swallowed a 9-death return elixir. Yinglong put away the demon-slaying sword and separated the azure dragon pearl to heal the injuries in his body. The origin-restoring sword that he threw out earlier was knocked away by the strange bird. Most of the inscriptions in the sword were destroyed. After all, the sword was a 6th-grade high-grade sword embryo that was personally forged by the supreme divinity Xianxia. At this time, it was undamaged. Wang Daoyuan put away the origin-restoring sword and took a few breaths. He muttered to himself, as expected of a divine beast bloodline. I have never met such a strong opponent. Fortunately, I made a lot of preparations. Otherwise, the one who was torn in half would be me. At this time, the tribulation cloud in the sky dropped a purple gold ball with a diameter of 5 inches and merged into Zhong Zhenyang's yuaning. With the nourishment of the gift of heaven and earth, Zhong Zhenyang's vitality and divine sense fluctuations were rapidly increasing. After half a cup of tea's time, his yuaning woke up. Seeing the mess in front of him, Wang Daoyuan also suffered heavy injuries. The yuaning cupped his hands at him and said, I can't repay your majesty's kindness even if I have to sacrifice my life. Please use the gift of heaven and earth to heal your injuries. Wang Daoyuan did not refuse. He flew under the auspicious cloud and absorbed the purple petals falling from the sky to heal his injuries. The gift of heaven and earth had excellent healing effects. Compared to it, the azure dragon pearl was not worth mentioning. After 15 minutes, the purple gold auspicious cloud dispersed and Wang Daoyuan's injuries were healed. Zhong Zhenyang's yuaning returned to his body. He stood up and was about to bow to Wang Daoyuan. Thank you for your protection, your majesty. Wang Daoyuan held him up. You are also a yuaning cultivator. You don't have to bow. In the future, guard the northern border of the Yan kingdom and be loyal to the Yan kingdom. I dare not forget your majesty's kindness. I will be loyal to the Yan kingdom and your majesty. Chapter 8:38. Zhong Zhenyang and a few other clans were established at the Hades River, more than 20,000 miles north of the Jade Spring Peak. If the demons of the Arctic ice plains came south, this would be the first line of defense against the demons. If they were attacked by demons, Wang Daoyuan would be able to rescue them within 2 hours on the Grey Rock. However, Zhong Zhenyang had just broken through to the yuaning realm and hadn't even cultivated a 5th-grade magic weapon. If they were attacked by a 5th-grade demon, it would be extremely difficult to hold on for 2 hours. Wang Daoyuan asked, Can you set up a 5th-grade formation? If the Hades River is attacked by demons, I will need 2 hours to rush over. You will have to hold off the demons alone for 2 hours. If you don't have a 5th-grade formation, it will be difficult for you to deal with a 5th-grade demon beast. Zhong Zhenyang cupped his hands and said, Don't worry, retired emperor. I have been collecting the incomplete inheritances left behind from the ancient times. In addition to the foundation left behind by the Netherworld sect, I have also gathered a 5th-grade formation inheritance. I have never dared to relax on the path of formations all these years. I was already not far from becoming a 5th-grade formation master. Now that I have broken through to the yuaning realm, my divine sense has greatly improved. I should be able to set up a 5th-grade formation. With a 5th-grade formation and my divine ability, even if I am surrounded by 5th-grade demon beasts, I am confident that I can hold on for 2 hours. Zhong Zhenyang's formation skills had never been weak. In addition, strange inheritances often appeared in the north of the mountain. It was not surprising that he could organize a 5th-grade formation inheritance. Since you are confident, I am relieved. In the future, pay more attention to the demon's movements. If a demon breaks through to the 5th grade, do not hesitate to inform me. Killing demon beasts to snatch gifts from the heavens is still very worthwhile. Wang Daoyuan handed over a few more trivial matters, took out the flying boat, and returned to the Jade Spring Peak. This time, he had killed a 5th-grade Peak Phoenix bloodline and fully recovered from his injuries. The harvest could be considered not small. The clone in the space was not idle either. It had already separated the essence blood. This strange bird's essence blood was at least 500 kilograms. The essence blood was stored in a special gourd to slow down the loss of essence. The gourd could not be kept in the space of the spiritual pearl. The flow of time was too fast, and the essence would soon be lost. He could only shrink it and put it in his sleeve. There were many gourds of origin planted in the space of the spiritual pearl, which he had obtained when he was in the foundation establishment stage. The highest grade of the Beiyuan gourd could reach was the third stage of the middle grade. In the space of the spiritual pearl, with the nourishment of the spiritual fire, the third stage of the upper grade of the Xianyuan gourd appeared. As far as Wang Daoyuan was concerned, the magic tools he refined did not have much combat value. They could only be used as high-grade containers. The blood essence of the rank 5 demonic beasts he had killed before was also stored in such a gourd. He didn't carry the gourd used to store his blood essence with him, as it was placed in the underground cave on Jade Spring Peak. The rest of the ordinary blood was left for the blood demon. The Yao core had also been sealed in a jade box and stored in his storage ring. With these methods, the blood essence could be preserved for dozens of years, and the Yao core could be preserved for thousands of years. The strength of this strange bird should also be at the top of the rank 5 demonic beasts. Yinglong's demon-slaying sword could kill him head-on. As long as he didn't encounter a rank 6 monster, there shouldn't be a problem. After killing this strange bird, the demons would probably restrain themselves for a few years. Even if other peak rank 5 demonic beasts appeared, they wouldn't dare to take the initiative to provoke him. This gave Wang Daoyuan time to improve. For the time being, there was no need to bother with any powerful killing moves. It was better to improve his cultivation as soon as possible. When his strength increased, all his special methods would also improve. After cultivating for more than 10 years, he should be able to advance to the late stage of yuanying. After returning to Jade Spring Peak, he also cultivated in the underground cave with the help of the Fire Eye. The recovery of spiritual energy had also had a great impact on the lava. The lava below the Earth Fire Room had also been upgraded to rank 4. Moreover, the momentum of the spiritual energy in the lava was more obvious than that of the spiritual veins outside. When the Earth Fire Room of Jade Spring Peak was opened, the spiritual energy inside was only of rank 3 upper grade. The array formations that were set up were also of rank 3 upper grade. Now that the lava had risen to rank 4, the original array formation was no longer enough to suppress the lava. However, Wang Daoyuan didn't have to do anything about this. His uncle Wang Shouzhe was already a rank 4 intermediate grade array master, and the array formation of this Earth Fire Room had been rearranged by him. Now that it was a rank 4 intermediate grade array, it was more than enough to suppress the lava. If the lava exceeded rank 4 intermediate grade, Wang Daoyuan could rearrange it, and it wouldn't be a big deal. With the upgrade of the lava, it could provide more spiritual energy, and Wang Daoyuan's cultivation speed was faster. He was still the same as before. Yuanying entered the space of the spiritual bead to comprehend the Beiyuan sword diagram. Just as he was comprehending the Beiyuan sword diagram, in the fish pond outside the thatched hut, a 1-foot-long Qing River carp jumped out of the water and landed on the shore. Not only did it not jump back into the fish pond, but it kept jumping north. The north was where the Gui water death flame was, and the Yin energy was extremely dense. Ordinary spirit beasts couldn't bear it. Although this fish was not big, its cultivation had already reached rank 2 intermediate grade. Wang Daoyuan used his spiritual consciousness to check the bones and scales of this Qing River carp. In the end, he determined that this guy was only in his 30s. This was really a treasure. A spirit beast cultivated to rank 2 intermediate grade in more than 30 years, which was faster than most of the human race. 12th Uncle's arowana was nearly 2 feet long when it cultivated to rank 2 lower grade. At that time, it was also more than 30 years old. This Qing River carp was smaller, but its cultivation was higher. It was likely to be a dragon species. Yuanying flew out of the thatched hut and came to the Qing River carp. His spiritual consciousness probed into its body and checked carefully. Sure enough, this Qing River carp had dragon qi in its body. Moreover, it was a male fish. In the future, it could be sown in large quantities to increase the number of dragon species. 3 flood dragon corpses were buried in the space of the spiritual bead to increase the dragon chi in the spiritual vein. It took more than 200 years to cultivate the jade dragon algae. Now that a dragon species had finally appeared, it was not a waste of effort. 12th uncle's arowana, after more than 200 years of cultivation, had now reached the peak of rank 3 and could break through to rank 4 at any time. Moreover, 2 forked dragon horns had grown on its head, but its head was still half fish and half dragon. This arawana's aptitude was better, so its cultivation should be faster. In addition to the time flow of the spiritual bead space, it should be able to cultivate to rank 4 very quickly. At that time, it would be more or less a helper, at least it could help suppress the monsters in the Qingli River water system. Lest these monsters become bigger and threaten the family's business. Moreover, it was only rank 2 middle grade and had dragon chi in its body. Its dragon blood concentration was definitely not low. There was no growth limit for the divine beast bloodline. Even if it was only an extremely thin divine beast bloodline, there was a glimmer of hope to become a divine beast. It was just that the resources needed were more. If it was the bloodline of other divine beasts, it would be really difficult to cultivate. Dragon species were the easiest to cultivate. After all, the old dragon was everywhere. Among the rank 4 aquatic monsters, there were many with dragon bloodline. Casually killing a few and refining bloodline pills could allow the dragon species to grow quickly. In addition to the time flow of the spiritual bead space, a rank 4 dragon species could be cultivated very quickly. Wang Daoyuan's Yuanying returned to his body and took a drop of blood essence. Yuanying returned to the spiritual bead space again with the blood essence and placed this drop of blood essence between the dragon species' eyebrows. Randomly casting the beast taming secret method in the 10,000 Beasts mystic tome, the blood essence was integrated into the dragon species' soul. With this secret method, he was not afraid that it would not accept. Moreover, Wang Daoyuan himself was also full of dragon chi. This guy was still very obedient in front of his Yuanying. After recognizing its master, he put this dragon species into the fish pond. Unexpectedly, it jumped out again and kept jumping north. Wang Daoyuan did not pay attention to it, wanting to see where its target was. He took this guy and jumped all the way to the northernmost lake in the spiritual bead space. The lake water here was gushing out of the Gui water nether spring, and the yin chi was extremely rich. Not only did this dragon species not feel uncomfortable, but it also seemed to enjoy it very much. It also jumped out of the water from time to time to eat the lotus seeds of the inky jade lotus. Looking at this posture, this dragon species was different from the dragon fish of the 12th uncle and the ancestor. It seemed to have mutated. Chapter 839. When the ice turtle was in the space of the spirit pearl, this was his territory, and Yun-Yi only dared to stay in the corner. Now that the ice turtle was gone, Yun-Yi became the overlord of the lake. At this time, Yun-Yi was lying on the curved surface, holding a lotus seed pod with her 2 front paws. Yun-Yi instantly felt that the lotus seed in his mouth was no longer as fragrant as before when someone came to snatch his food. Wang Daoyuan knew Yun-Yi's character very well. She bullied the weak and feared the strong. In the early years, she was domineering in the space of the spirit pearl. Later, there were stronger spirit beasts in the space of the spirit pearl, so she became obedient. This arowana is also my spirit beast. Don't bully it. Otherwise, I'll take you to the red sun real fire. Hearing this, Yun-Yi withered. Since it broke through to the 3rd stage and awakened the soul-devouring dark tiger bloodline, it only liked to stay in the northern part of the space of the spirit pearl. It did not dare to approach the southern part of the space where the red sun real fire was. Needless to say, Dahe never bullied other spirit beasts. At this time, it was at the edge of the space of the spirit pearl, eating the demon soul grass. When the devil clan was exterminated, the demon soul grass obtained could increase the intelligence of spirit beasts. Over the years, Dahe and Yun-Yi's intelligence had increased a lot. They could fully understand what people said and communicate with their divine sense without any obstacles, but they still could not speak directly. Even the soul-chasing bee liked to come here to collect honey. It was much easier to communicate with the queen bee through divine sense. Yun Yi, Dahe, and the soul-chasing bee king were all stuck at the peak of the third stage. Back then, the Valley of Beasts had vigorously cultivated Yun Yi tiger and invested a lot of resources, but it failed to make Yun Yi advance. It was not easy to make it break through to the fourth stage. Needless to say, Dahe was not ranked at all. It had been stuck at the peak of the second stage for many years. If it wanted to break through to the third stage again, its bloodline was also a big problem. Wang Daoyuan had a way to help Dahe improve. He killed a lot of spirit beasts in the West Sea, many of which had the bloodline of ancient beasts. In the depths of the West Sea, there was spirit qi similar to the primordial age. There must be special spirit qi in the blood essence and golden cores of these strange beasts. If he used the blood essence of these strange beasts to refine pills, such as the beast blood strengthening pill, he might be able to activate the heavenly dog bloodline in Big Black's body. Wang Daoyuan was too lazy to do such a thing. While the Grey Rock was patrolling the area, he would bring the demonic beast's blood essence and supplementary herbs to Wanchuan Market. Jia Qi's alchemy and smithing skills were both at high-grade Tier 4, it was better to let him train a bit more. After refining the pills, he would let Hui Peng bring them back. Dahe and the other two were stuck at the peak of Stage 3, but the star-patterned sea cucumbers in the seawall were growing very fast. Now, there was already a 4th-grade low-grade sea cucumber with 3 star patterns on its body. Although the star-patterned sea cucumber was not big, it was still a demonic beast and had a demonic core in its body. With this star-patterned sea cucumber, he didn't need to go around hunting demonic beasts. He could continuously obtain demonic cores. Of course, killing a rank 4 sea cucumber was too much of a waste. It wouldn't be too late to kill it when it reached rank 5. 1 year later, nearly 80 years had passed in the space of the Spirit Pearl. The cultivation of the mutant arowana had also improved to low-grade Tier 3. After the breakthrough, a golden reverse scale appeared under its jaw. The scales on its body were no longer red, but pitch black, and there was a strong yin qi on its body. There were many types of dragons, and many of them carried yin qi. It was still hard to say which lineage this black dragonfish belonged to. However, Dahe had been constantly taking pills refined with the blood essence of exotic beasts, and there were obvious changes. Its size had increased significantly, but it could shrink its body, so it didn't have much of an impact. Its talent of devouring spiritual qi had obviously improved, and its devouring speed had doubled. It seemed that the beast blood strengthening pill refined with the blood essence of Archean exotic beasts had some effect on it. The beast blood strengthening pill was only used to strengthen its physical body and activate its bloodline, which had little effect on its cultivation breakthrough. It was not like the bloodline pill, which could directly help it improve. If he wanted to refine the bloodline pill, he would have to directly find an exotic beast with the bloodline of the heavenly dog. This was too difficult, and there was basically no hope. It was good enough that the beast blood strengthening pill was useful. If he improved slowly, he would be able to break through in the future. At this moment, his second brother, Wang Daoxing, sent a letter saying that he wanted to see him. Back then, his second brother's cultivation technique was too weak, so he didn't awaken the Purple Mansion phenomenon. Therefore, he didn't receive any special training and had been working in the Wang Mansion. Later on, more and more disciples in the family established their Purple Mansion, and he was slowly marginalized. However, his spiritual root talent was quite good, comparable to his fifth granduncle, Wang Daoyuan, and Wang Mingshan. Even if he didn't receive special training, after so many years, he had cultivated to the late stage of the Purple Mansion realm. Since his second brother wanted to see him, Wang Daoyuan naturally had to meet him. He went to the abode on the ground, and Wang Daoxing soon brought a young cultivator over. As soon as he came in, the young cultivator wanted to kneel and salute him. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "We're family, there's no need to be so polite." Wang Daoxing looked a little embarrassed. "Seventh brother, this is Mingfeng's son, Digong. He's in his 70s and is already at the 7th stage foundation establishment realm. He's a cultivator with 2 spiritual roots, and his main spiritual root is an 8.3-inch metal spiritual root. When I established my purple mansion, I didn't have a purple mansion phenomenon because my cultivation technique was too weak. Now, there are many metal attribute cultivation techniques in the family, but there aren't many that are really good. This child cultivates the Beiyuan sword codex, but it's not perfect. I want to ask you to teach him a more perfect sword cultivation technique so that he won't walk the same path as me. Wang Mingfeng was Wang Daoxing's eldest son and had medium talent. He had already established his purple mansion and was working in the Yan Kingdom's imperial court. Wang Digong had an 8.3-inch metal spiritual root and was a cultivator with 2 spiritual roots. He was a rare genius. Even though the Wang family had many cultivators, there were still many geniuses. Wang Digong's talent could be ranked in the top 10. Such a disciple naturally had to be nurtured well. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Digong, use a few sword cultivation techniques to attack me." Wang Digong cupped his hands and said, "I'm sorry." Then he used the myriad sword art and condensed more than 30 sword shadows. Wang Daoyuan reached out and blocked the sword shadows. He probed with his divine perception and found something strange. There wasn't much killing intent in his sword shadows. Instead, it was a little strange. It wasn't suitable for a head-on confrontation. Instead, it was suitable for sneak attacks. Wang Daoyuan had obtained the Sword Immortal's inheritance and knew more about sword cultivation. Naturally, he knew that sword cultivation didn't only need hotheads. As long as one had the confidence to win, anyone could walk the path of sword cultivation. This grandnephew could comprehend the Sly Dao sword intent in the future and was suitable to be an assassin. Wang Daoyuan chatted with him for a while and found that his personality was completely different from his second brother. His second brother was recognized by the entire family as a simpleton, but this little guy was full of twists and turns. This personality was very suitable to join Blood Shadow. With this talent and the support of the family, it wouldn't be a problem for him to enter the upper echelons of Blood Shadow. He let the clone in the space of the Spirit Pearl engrave a jade slip and then handed it to Wang Digong. Go to Qingli City to find your 27th granduncle and learn the way of sword cultivation from him. You can join Blood Shadow in the future. Granny 7 will take care of you there. As long as you can break through to the Golden Core realm, it won't be a problem for you to enter the upper echelons of Blood Shadow. Wang Digong was full of joy. He took the jade slip and thanked him repeatedly before leaving. Wang Daoxing also wanted to leave. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Second brother, we brothers haven't had a good chat in many years." He sighed. The path of cultivation is hopeless. The difference in cultivation is too big. I don't know what to talk about. Wang Daoyuan took out more than 10 jade bottles. Your talent is not bad. Even without the Purple Mansion anomaly, it doesn't affect your cultivation speed. You're only about 360 years old now. There's still hope for you to form your core. I've accumulated a lot of rank 4 demon cores over the years. I don't need your gold formation pill. Cultivate as soon as possible and form your core. I don't ask you to take charge of the family. I only ask that after a few hundred years, I can still have a brother to drink and chat with. Wang Daoxing smiled and nodded. Seventh brother, you forgot that I can't drink. Back when we were still Qi refinement cultivators, we went to Guyan Valley to exterminate demon beasts. 12th uncle got us drunk in Golden Goo City. He used this to laugh at me for more than 300 years. Chapter 840. The two talked about many things when they were young. After a long time, Wang Daoxing left. He resigned from all his positions in the imperial court and went to the Green Willow secret territory to cultivate in seclusion. Wang Daoyuan still did not care about daily affairs and continued to cultivate in the underground cave. Half a year passed, and the spirit qi in the sky/mountain range became denser. Although the grade of the spirit vein did not increase by much, the amount of spirit qi produced increased explosively. The Jade Spring Peak was thousands of miles away from the sky/mountain range's main vein. They could feel a little bit of level 5 spirit qi in the outside world. This situation was just like the small island with a teleportation formation in the westernmost part of the Sea of Seven Stars. In this environment, they could already comprehend the power of laws. As long as they spent some time, a peak golden core cultivator would have the chance to break through to the Yuanying realm. When the gray rock patrolled the vicinity of the sky/mountain range, he also reported the changes in the spirit chi there. The spirit chi in the Green Willow Island had already reached the level of level 4 low grade. The level 5 spirit chi it contained was also much more than the Jade Spring Peak. The grade of the spirit vein in the Green Willow Island had also increased by quite a bit. It used to be level 3 low grade, but now it was level 3 high grade. The 4 top forces also sent news that their spirit veins had also increased to level 5 low grade. The demon-resisting mountain near the decimating heaven abyss had also become a level 5 spirit vein. Some of the larger spirit veins in the southern wasteland, such as the Blood Demon Ridge, also showed signs of upgrading. With such a huge commotion in Beiyuan Xiaoxian, the demons in the decimating heaven abyss were naturally unwilling to be left out. More and more demons attacked the decimating heaven abyss's formation. As the grade of the spirit vein increased, the decimating heaven abyss's formation also became more and more sturdy. The decimating heaven abyss was not affected by Beiyuan's spirit chi, so the strength of the demons would not change too much. Thus, the demons attacking the formation had no effect. It was the same on Zhou Luan's side. The spirit vein in the Blood Shadow's underground headquarters was also peak level 6. Although it was not as good as the level 7 low grade of the 4 top forces, the difference was very small. The Blood Shadow's headquarters was south of the Jade Wave Sea, which was already close to the sky/mountain range. The various forces' half-step Yuanying cultivators also broke through to the Yuanying realm. Each of the 4 top forces had 2 half-step Yuanying cultivators breaking through. Daoist Swordless of the Tai Sword sect was already at the pinnacle of the Gold Core realm. With a little more time, there was hope for him to reach the nascent soul realm. On Blood Shadow's side, Zhang Dingming had also successfully broken through. For the sake of having one more Yuanying, Zhou Luan didn't stop him. After breaking through, Zhang Dingming also carried out some probing to seize power. Zhou Luan and Wang Daoyuan had been together for more than 100 years. Naturally, she wasn't weak in terms of mind games. He found an opportunity to have the blood-eyed golden-winged tiger and moonhowl wolf show their faces. He even delegated some authority to the first elder. After using both carrot and stick, Zhang Dingming also gave in. He also knew in his heart that if he really played hard with Zhou Luan, he would have to face more than just Zhou Luan and 2 mid-grade 5th-rank demonic beasts. Wang Daoyuan was the most powerful human cultivator in Beiyuan. He also had 2 puppets and 3 5th-grade demonic beasts. Blood Shadow's side was basically stable, and Wang Daoyuan didn't need to worry about it. The top forces of the human race already had 5th-grade spirit meridians and more than 10 Yuanying cultivators. On the other hand, there was no movement from the demon race. It was reasonable that there was no movement from the West Sea. The West Sea was the end of the world. Back then, when the human race had Mahayana cultivators, they also couldn't occupy the West Sea. In the current situation, the human race also didn't have the ability to occupy it. The same went for the Arctic ice plains in the north. North of the Arctic ice plains was the endless ice sea. Moreover, the further north one went, the colder the climate was. It was already difficult for the human race to establish a foothold at the edge of the Arctic ice plains, let alone in the depths of the Arctic ice plains. The southern wilderness had been wiped out countless times and couldn't create any big waves. What made Wang Daoyuan the most curious was that the East Sea demon race also didn't make any movements. According to his previous discoveries, there should still be 5th-grade demons hiding in the Mirage Fog Sea. There were at least 4 5th-grade demons in the sky/mountain range. If this continued, there would be more and more Yuanying cultivators in the human race. In the entire Beiyuan Xiaoxian, there were still some half-step Yuanying cultivators and at least 30 peak-stage golden core cultivators who had yet to break through. In another 10 or 20 years, the half-step Yuanying cultivators could try to form their nascent souls. Some of the peak-stage golden core cultivators could also form their nascent souls. If this dragged on for more than 100 years, the existing late-stage golden core cultivators could also break through to the Yuanying realm. The human race's advantage would be even greater. Wang Daoyuan didn't know what the demon race was thinking. The hiding places of the demon race were also very well hidden. They might even be hidden in a mystic realm. It would take too much effort to find them. If he had the time, he might as well cultivate honestly. If he was strong enough, he wouldn't have to care about the demon race. Wang Daoyuan took a nascent cultivating pill and was about to cultivate when news came from the Wanchuan market. A 4th-grade demon sent a message outside the market saying that a 5th-grade demon wanted to see Wang Daoyuan. The demon race didn't need an invitation to see him. As long as they brazenly appeared in the territory of the Yan Kingdom, Wang Daoyuan would immediately go over. Wang Daoyuan was really at a loss about taking the initiative to invite him for a meeting. His first reaction was that the demon race wanted to lure him to an ambush place and kill him together. He naturally wouldn't take this risk. He directly asked Jia Qi to talk to the demon race. He took a flying boat to the Wanchuan market. If the demon race wanted to play dirty, he would be able to react at any time. After he gave a reply, the demon race quickly took action. The white-feathered chicken appeared on the river outside the Wanchuan market. He shouted in a sharp voice, "Dao Yu of the Yan Kingdom, come out. The demon race has something to talk to you about." Wang Daoyuan controlled Jia Qi to walk out of the market array. "Dao Yu of the demon race, what do you want to talk to me about?" The demon race and the human race have been fighting for the past few years. Both sides have suffered great losses. If this continues, it won't benefit anyone. There is enough 5th-grade spirit energy in the heaven/mountain range. There will be more 5th-grade demons and Yuanian cultivators. They won't lack spirit energy. Since there are enough resources, there is no need to fight to the death. Therefore, a few 5th-grade demon monarchs of the demon race have decided to negotiate with the human race. Both sides will guard their borders and will no longer be enemies. The demon monarchs and the Grand Emperor of the Yan Kingdom will decide how to divide the territories. The white-feathered chicken's words made sense. The heaven/mountain range produced a lot of spirit energy. It wouldn't be a problem to increase the number of Yuanian cultivators tenfold. The two sides fought so hard because they wanted to fight for the dominance of Beiyuan Xiuxian. In the current situation, the spirit veins of the 4 top forces had recovered to 5th grade. Their mountain gates still had methods left behind from ancient times. When their spirit veins were only at the peak of 4th grade, they could withstand the attacks of 5th-grade demon beasts. Now, they couldn't be broken through by 5th-grade demon beasts. No matter what, the demon race couldn't completely destroy the human race. It was even more impossible to exhaust them. The human race's reproduction speed was much faster than that of most demon beasts. The demon race couldn't compare at all. The demon race couldn't compare at all. The peace talks were naturally beneficial to the Yan Kingdom. It was still under a lot of pressure to resist the invasion of the East Sea, the heaven/mountain range, and the Arctic ice plains. The Wang family's rise was still too short. They needed time to slowly improve their foundation. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to do business. He controlled Jia Qi to reply, "This is not a matter between the demon race and the Yan Kingdom. It is a matter between the demon race and the human race. Whether to negotiate or not, we still need the agreement of the 4 top forces. The Zhou and Qin kingdoms have contributed a lot to resist the demon race and have the right to express their opinions. If the demon race is sincere in negotiating, our Grand Emperor will inform these forces and wait for them to send people over to discuss this matter together." If the Yan Kingdom agreed to this matter, it was equivalent to betraying the human race. Seeing that the human race had the intention to negotiate, the white-feathered chicken also replied, "The demon race is sincere. Please tell your Grand Emperor of the human race. The location and specific time of the negotiation will be decided by the human race." You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.